by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
What's up, everybody, on a Friday TGIF show. TGIF. It is Friday. So today, it wasn't like I was slacking. I have an announcement of sorts to make. Spent some time this morning talking to people over at Rumble. No, I'm not leaving YouTube, but we're going to be doing a really good integration with Rumble, and I think you're going to love it. It's going to allow me to build both platforms. Nothing wrong with a hedge, just in case something happens, but we're going to be really ramping up things on Rumble in conjunction with YouTube, not abandoning one for the other like some of the other people have, because I'm a firm believer in, dancing with the girl that brought you. And YouTube has enabled me to enjoy a lot of fun, build quite the audience, and now I'm just going to build a second audience over there for people, because there's people who like Rumble better than YouTube. There's people who like X better than Rumble. So trying to keep everybody happy. Again, with the intros here, excuse me, a lot of people didn't like the rock and roll side of things, so I'm going to be doing some different things there and trying out different intros, and we're going to do a whole lot of changes like in the next 5 to 7 days. I'm going to be trying, just want to let you know, I'm going to be trying to stick to a very, very defined schedule, but again, with that same ideology that, you dance with the girl that brought you, I wouldn't have been able to build this channel or do anything without Donald Trump involved. And because of that, I don't know if I would call it an obligation, but the content here will remain Trump-centric. I guess that's the way to say it, Trump-centric. And so with that, I have to look at the schedule every single morning, as I've told you, and see what he's doing, when he's going to be live, is it going to be recorded, and then try to adjust accordingly. So he had something today that I'm going to show you here in a second. It's a record because they did it in partially live. They screwed up all kinds of programming for people, but I have the entirety of it. It was his swearing in of Alina Habba as the new U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. And I've got that. I'm going to play that in its entirety. We're going to watch that, and then I'm going to get into my show because that's what we do here. Let me just get it queued up here so we can play it. And as soon as I have this queued up, I will hit the button and it will play. And we are all set to go. So this, what you're about to see, is the swearing-in ceremony of Alina Habba. It's about, oh, by the way, he takes some questions after it as well. So let's go to that right now and pretend like it's live. Sort of like it's live. Here we go. Where's the sound? Where's the sound? And there's no sound. And there's no sound. So hold on a second. Let me go ahead and pause that so I can get the sound. Why is there no sound? Hold on. Wait. It's not me. I'm playing back the feed. And we got sound now. We are rolling. Ready? Here we go.
Requested a prayer, and Paula, if you would do the honors, please.
Thank you. So honored, sir. Thank you. Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus, and on this very divine appointment of Alina Habba, we thank you that you have chosen her before the foundations of the earth. I ask that you would give your wisdom according to James 1:5, and as she moves into this new season in this divine appointment, that she will protect the innocent, that she will always rule righteously, that she will stand in your peace and reign in truth and justice. I secure her family, her life, her calling, and her purpose. We thank you for President Trump. We thank you for this opportunity for all. Secure this in the name that is above all names, the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you very much, Paula.
Thank you, sir.
Before we begin, we have a little announcement. It's just going to be put out over the wires that Skadden Arps, the highly respected firm, Skadden Arps, Slate, Meagher, and Flom, announced the following agreement regarding a series of actions that were taken by Skadden. And it reads, number one, Skadden will provide a total of at least $100 million in pro bono legal services during the Trump administration and beyond to cause that the president and Skadden both support. This is something we both support in relation to the following areas: assisting veterans and other public servants, including members of the military, law enforcement, and on and on. Number two, Skadden will commit to the mission of providing pro bono legal services to a wide variety deserving organizations and individuals. Skadden is committed to funding no fewer than 5 Skadden Fellows. That's a scholarship fund that they've set up. And number 3, and again, we're going to put this out in much greater detail, that Skadden affirms and commits to merit-based hiring, promotion, and retention. Again, that will go on for a little while, and you'll read that. And Skadden will not deny any representation to clients, such as its members or members of politically disenfranchised groups who have not historically received legal representation from major national law firms, etc. So this is going out now, and I'm instructing my people to release it. And this just was announced, so you can you'll get it in. This was essentially a settlement, and you'll be able to read that in great detail. We appreciate Skadden's coming to the table. As you know, other law firms have likewise settled the case, and it's a shame. What's gone on is a shame, but we very much appreciate their coming to the table. But we're here for right now a different reason. It's a very important one, because today we're thrilled to swear in our interim U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba. Congratulations, Alina. And I want to just congratulate, along with your husband, Greg, and your children, your wonderful parents who I've gotten to know over the years, great parents and a great family, so congratulations. And to Luke, Chloe, and Parker, that's great. You're proud, right, of your father and your mother, right? Both. Not just your mom, right? Your father, too. He's done pretty well. He's a good guy and very successful man. I also want to thank Attorney General Pam Bondi. She's been incredible, by the way. She's, I don't want to brag, but I've been watching her for the last couple of weeks, and she's been incredible. Thank you very much, Pam. And a couple of others who have been really outstanding. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick. Thank you, Howard. Thank you very much. And I think I see Scott there. He has been, this is somebody at the Treasury. Nobody's going to outfox Scott, right? Nobody. And he's waiting for Liberation Day, right? Which is April 2nd. We wanted to do it April 1st, but that has some negative connotation. And I see Sebastian Gorka there. Thank you, Sebastian, very much. That's very much. Kevin, thank you very much. We have great people. Susie Wiles, most powerful woman in the world. She was just rated the most powerful woman in the world. If you think about it, I guess it's true when you think about it. Anyway, thank you, Susie. And Director Kash Patel. Where's Kash? Kash is fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you, Kash. So Alina is a proud New Jersey native. She was born and raised in Summit and now lives in Bernardsville with her family, beautiful area of our country. After a career leading a successful law practice in the state, very successful, Alina joined my legal team several years ago and helped spearhead the effort to defeat the corrupt and grotesque weapon of our justice system. She was very effective at doing it. And I want to thank you for doing it. You took a lot of abuse. And now they're all sort of apologizing. So anyway, but we appreciate it. Great job you did. Thank you for allowing her to do it, because your life wasn't made any easier, was it? Huh? They even came after him. They didn't come after the kids. They would have waited about a year or two. You're very lucky. You're very lucky. But through her work, Alina became a nationally recognized warrior for the fair, equal, and impartial rule of law. She also serves as a key member of my successful 2024 campaign for president. You saw her doing a lot of explaining and doing it very well. And upon my inauguration, she joined the White House as senior staff. She was a senior staff member as the counselor to the president, and she counseled me very well. Alina has been named to the Super Lawyers Rising Stars list every year since 2014, and also earned a spot on the top 100 lawyers in America numerous times. As a young person, it's very unusual to have achieved that. As U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina will work tirelessly to weed out crime and corruption and restore law and order to the Garden State, as we call it. It's the Garden State. It's a great place. I think it's highly underrated. It's a great place to be and to live, and we all love it. Under the last administration, violent crime in New Jersey, however, rose more than 60%. And under the last administration, violent crime throughout the country rose at levels that are higher than that and unacceptable. And we're bringing it down, and we're getting rid of a lot of bad people. They're being taken out. And we hope this court system that's become so active all of a sudden in trying to protect some very, very bad people of crime, they have to stop. They have to let us do the job. We were elected to do the job. They shouldn't be interfering in that. It's a very sad thing that's going on. Nobody can even believe it. They'd rather have them stay in our country. These are murderers in many cases and people about as bad as we've ever seen. And they have to let us do the job. They have to let Kash and Pam and everybody else do their job. Alina will take on the violence and the law-breaking in Newark, however, and Camden and all parts of New Jersey, and she'll be as good as it gets because there's a lot of bad things happening there, too. She'll stop the graft and corruption in Trenton, and she'll persecute human traffickers, gang members, illegal aliens, and criminal cartels to the fullest extent of the law. And between Pam and Alina, you don't want them after you, I can tell you. I watched Pam 2 days ago talking about what was so unfair to a patriot, what was happening. And she said, we're watching you, we're looking for you, and you're not going to get away with it. You did very well. I think a lot of that stuff has stopped. They watched and they said, who needs this, right, Pam? So thank you very much. Really amazing job that you're doing. So, Alina, I want to congratulate you now. I will ask Pam, our Attorney General, to come up and do the honors of swearing in. And this is a great day for law enforcement in our country. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right hand. Yeah, place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I, Alina Habba, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any.
That's the White House feed, so it'll catch up in a second. I'll jump ahead on it. Let's see if I can do that. Hold on.
If, as a person who's a first-generation American with parents that came in legally, I would like to say that I do not ever take for granted that every dream that I ever could have imagined, I have surpassed because of this administration, because of President Trump. 4 years ago, he entrusted faith in me as his personal attorney, and I have been on the journey of a lifetime every single day for that. But I have also been with him through some very dark days when I lost faith in our justice system, when I saw things that I never, ever thought I would ever see. And from being outside the courtroom steps, defending him and defending our great nation, I saw the most resilience I've ever seen in my life. This man kept fighting for America, and I'm just so honored that now I get to fight for the state of New Jersey. I will do a good job, sir. I will clean it up, and we're going to make New Jersey great again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions, please?
Mr. President, Canada's Prime Minister says that they will be implementing retaliatory tariffs. You said if that were to happen, that you would be responding with large-scale tariffs. Will you be following through with that promise?
Well, absolutely. But we had a very good conversation. Mark called me today at 10 o'clock. We put out a statement. We had a very, very good talk. He's going through an election now, and we'll see what happens. But we have Liberation Day, as you know, on April 2nd, because, and I'm not referring to Canada, but many countries have taken advantage of us, the likes of which nobody even thought was possible for many, many decades, And, you know, that has to stop. We're going to end up with a very good relationship with Canada and a lot of the other countries. Some we probably won't. It won't be so pleasant. But I think most countries are agreeing with me. They actually, many of them have actually apologized. They said, look, we have taken advantage. And I don't blame them as much as I blame the people that stood, in this case I can say the men, because so far they've been all men, haven't they? But the men that sat right there and behind the Resolute desk, mostly the Resolute desk, you know. I don't know if you know, you have a choice of 7 desks. The Resolute is the one I like, but some chose other ones. But they sat right behind a desk right in this location, and they let our country be hurt very badly. But I didn't do that. But we had a very good talk, the Prime Minister and myself, and I think things are going to work out very well between Canada and the United States. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, how are the talks with India on tariff going on, and what is the expectation from India? How much do you want them?
Well, you know, Prime Minister Modi was here just recently, and we've always been very good friends. India is one of the highest tariffing nations in the world. You know that. I know. Thank you for shaking your head, but it's brutal. It's brutal. They're very smart, and he's a very smart man and a great friend of mine, actually. And we had very good talks. I think it's going to work out very well between India and our country. Very, very well. And I want to say you have a great Prime Minister.
Mr. President, there's been a very serious earthquake in Burma, Myanmar today, with up to several hundred killed. The military regime there has asked for help from anybody.
Yeah, we're going to be helping. We've already alerted the people. Yeah, it's terrible what's happened. It's helping. We've already spoken with the country. Okay, please.
Mr. President, yesterday you asked Representative Stefanik to stay in her seat. Can you explain your reason for that? Did it have anything to do with the tight polling in the Florida district that former Representative Vance held?
Well, I think we're doing, I think we had, as you know, we have a few elections going on. And she is phenomenal, number one. She is a friend of mine, and she was going to go to the United Nations. And I said, look, there's a lot of room for doing that or something else. But she's very popular in her district, and I didn't want to take a chance. I don't even know who else is running. I assume somebody else would have been running. But if she runs, she can't be, you never want to say can't be beaten, but I think can't be beaten. She's very, very well-liked and very smart. And I said, Lise, would you do me a favor? We cannot take a chance. We have a slim margin. We don't want to take any chances. We don't want to experiment. And she polls like I do. I won her district, as you know, by a lot of points. And she also does very well there. When it comes to Florida, you have two races, and they seem to be good. It's a Trump plus 32 area. The one thing is they're spending like $12 million, and our candidate doesn't have that kind of money, spending much less than that, like maybe 1/12, about $1 million, a little bit more than $1 million. So the airwaves are blanketed, and you never know what happens in a case like that. I won it by 32 points, and it's very, very strong. It used to be Democrat, but when I came along, they liked me for whatever reason. You'll have to explain that, but they liked me, and we're way up. But you don't know what happened. Second district, who seems to be in pretty good shape, but likewise, he's being outspent about 5-1. So we don't want to take any chances. So I went to Elise and I said, Elise, do you mind? A very highly rated person, you know, she was a real leader. And she will be again. I spoke with Mike Johnson. They're going to put her in a high leadership position. But will you mind staying in Congress? Because we don't want to take any chances. And it's as simple as that. It's basic politics. It's politics 101. She's very popular. She's going to win. And somebody else will probably win, too, because we did very well there. I did very well there. But the word probably is no good. So I really appreciate her doing it. She's doing me a big favor when she does it, because she was all set to go to the United Nations, and she would have dealt with Putin and Zelensky and everybody else, and she would have been very effective. But we really don't want to take any chances because it is tight.
Mr. President,
go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. You and your team apprehended a top 3 leader in the violent gang MS-13 yesterday, just 30 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. What has made you and your team so effective in finding, locating, apprehending, and deporting these violent, illegal migrants?
I love this guy. I wish more people would ask questions like that. But thank you. That's very nice. I appreciate it. And they happen. All you're doing is being fair with you when you ask a question in that way. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and all of the rest of law enforcement. And I think we have to include ICE and Border Patrol, you know, Paul of Border Patrol, the whole group from Border Patrol. They're so incredible, and it's, you know, dangerous stuff, hard stuff. And it's really an unforced error, because these people were allowed into this country. They shouldn't have been in this country. They would have never been in this country. We're getting rid of some of the worst criminals in the world. They came out of jails and mental institutions from all over the world. But Pam and the whole group, and Kash, who's here, and it's so good to have him. I see him all over. He's working 24 hours a day, but the job they've done is incredible. And they caught one of the worst criminals in the world, I guess, in terms of evilness. You don't get any worse than the MS-13 guys and the Tren de Aragua guys. You could flip a coin. It's a rough group. And, you know, the big thing is they have to be able to do their job. I was watching it on television like you, and I saw the home that he lived in a good area, but boy, they had a lot of weaponry in there, right? Highly sophisticated, really brutal stuff. So I appreciate the question, and I just want to thank Kash and Pam and the whole group for doing a fantastic, and the local law enforcement who's been so terrific, even first responders. So I want to thank everybody, and thank you very much.
Mr.
Mr. President, I wanted to say, first of all, happy Women's Month. You
Thank
do
you.
so much for women by,
Thank you.
first of all, keeping men out of women's sports, and you platform so many.
That was an easy one. That was crazy.
You platform so many great women, like your Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. You also have Caroline Levitt doing a great job as press secretary. Now Alina will be joining as well. Since Democrats seem to struggle answering this question, I wanted to ask you, what is a woman, and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man, I've always found. A woman is a person that doesn't give a man even a chance of success. And a woman's a person that in many cases has been treated very badly, because I think that what happens with this crazy issue of men being able to play in women's sports is just ridiculous and very unfair to women and very demeaning to women. And that's got to be about a 94%. I read today it was a 94% issue. And I watched the other day, a congressman, a Democrat congressman, fighting for the fact that men should be allowed to compete essentially in women's sports. And I say, I hope they keep that going, because they'll never win another election. That's a big deal. But women are basically incredible people, do so much for our country, and we love our women, and we're going to take care of our women. Yeah.
What was your reason for pardoning Trevor Milton?
Highly recommended by many people. That was taken advantage of. He did a business deal like in Utah, as I have it, and I think he was exonerated, and then they brought him into New York, where he had a rough road. I mean, he was exonerated. It was a big celebration. Again, I don't know him, but they say it was very unfair, and they say the thing that he did wrong was he was one of the first people that supported a gentleman named Donald Trump for president. He supported Trump. He liked Trump. I didn't know him, but he liked him. It was in Utah, and they went after him. They went after his family. They went after his businesses. And he was, I believe, exonerated, and then they went after him again, and they brought him this time into Manhattan, and he had nothing to do with Manhattan. And they got him, and I said, that's unfair. There are many people like that. They support Trump, and they went after him. You don't realize this is a vicious group of people that were in this office before us. This is a vicious group. They're violent. What they were doing to people, and you could go story after hundreds and even thousands of stories, and they went after this man. And when I heard about it, I said, nope, not going to happen. They destroyed 5 years of his life. He fought for 5 years of his life, and he did nothing wrong. And he's a good person. And basically, I had these fantastic recommendations about him from people that you know very well, all top-of-the-line people. They thought it was a horrible thing. There are many such cases, by the way, many such cases.
Should Americans buy cars now if they want to avoid
Please go
higher
ahead.
prices?
Thank you, Mr. President. Have you spoken with Vladimir Putin about buying weapons from Iran and from North Korea?
Not about specifically that, no, I haven't.
Well, that seems to be an issue that you want to make important.
Well, I'm making all issues important. You got a lot of important issues. You also have the children issue that's important. You know, it's a lot of children are living in Russia right now. That's a horrible situation that would have never taken place if I was and the country is being decimated. But, you know, they're losing 2,500 on average young men, mostly men, almost in all cases men, actually, but young men every single week, 2,500. And they're not from our country. They're from Ukraine and they're from Russia. But it's human lives. And if we can get it stopped, and I think we're making progress. But there's a lot of ill will between the parties.
Should Americans buy cars now if they want to avoid higher prices? And then just to follow
No, I don't think so. I think you're going to have a country that's going to boom. I just spoke to Tim Cook of Apple. He's investing $500 billion in the United States, which he would have never, he told me, I would never have done it if you lost the election, and I would have never done it if there wasn't a tariff system that is a incentive for people to come. And remember, there are no tariffs. All you have to do is do your work right here. if you have your company here, if you build your product, make your car, or whatever it is you're making, no tariffs. And we're going to have, I think, Scott, I would say we're close to $4 trillion, even going close to $5 trillion. Now, we haven't had that for years. If you add up years, they haven't invested like that. And here we are in 2 months. We think we're up to close to $5 trillion of investment. They're going to build car plants. They're already building. Many of them have already started. And if you build a car in the United States, and one thing that I just spoke with John Thune about, I just spoke to Mike Johnson about, Speaker, we're going to do something that has never been done in this country before. I'm very proud to say it was my idea. And so sometimes a simple idea, they say, how'd you think of that one? It's so simple, it was never done. If you buy a car in the United States that's made in the United States, if it's manufactured here, when you borrow money, if you borrow money, you have interest payments, we're going to let you deduct the interest payment for income tax reasons. And I think that's going to more than pay for itself. I think people are going to be, they've never had a deduction. You know, deductions are supposed to be for like rich people, and it's unfair to have that. But rich people are, I think I know more about deductions than any human being on earth. But, you know, the truth is that people that are middle-income people that buy a car and actually have to borrow money, they're going to now get an interest deduction on their car if it's made in the United States. If it's made someplace else, that won't take place. But car companies, as you know, are already expanding and building new plants. They've already started. And I think you're going to see numbers. Howard, you're seeing it, and Scott, you're seeing it. You're going to see numbers the likes of which you've never seen before. Yeah, please go ahead.
The Vice President is in Greenland right now. Do you have plans to expand U.S. military presence in Greenland? Is that...
We get along very well with Greenland. We get along very well with Denmark. We've always had a good... Denmark does a lot of business in the United States. We don't do so much there, but they do a lot of business in the United States. And I think they want to see, I think everybody wants to see that work out. We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't. If you look at Greenland right now, if you look at the waterways, you have Chinese and Russian ships all over the place. And we're not going to be able to do that. We're not relying on Denmark or anybody else to take care of that situation. And we're not talking about peace for the United States. We're talking about world peace. We're talking about international security. And right now, you look at it, you have warships all over the place going through right along Greenland. We're not going to let that happen. We cannot let that happen. Or if it's going to happen, we have to be protective of our country. And more important, really protection not only of our country, of the world. So Greenland is very important. In modern day weaponry makes Greenland 100 years ago less so. But also,
would you like to visit Greenland?
If you notice, also some of those you could call them roadways. Okay, they're water roadways. But some of those areas are opening up, and they're opening up icebreakers out there. They're opening them, and by just nature, they're opening up, and they're headed right into China, right into Russia, and we have no choice. The answer is he's there with his wonderful wife, Usha. They're there right now. They landed a couple of hours ago, and they will represent us well. But Greenland's very important for the peace of the world, not us, the peace of the entire world. And I think Denmark understands it. I think the European Union understands it. And if they don't, we're going to have to explain it to them.
Would you like to visit Greenland?
Iranian drones are attacking Ukraine every day.
Let's say it.
Iranian drones are attacking and killing Ukrainians every day. Why aren't you doing something about that?
Well, we're going to see what happens with that. I'm getting reports on that, and we're looking at a report. You're right. They make a lot of drones. Iran makes a lot of drones. They make very effective drones, too. They do very effectively at some things, but Iran is very high on my list of things to watch. And as you probably know, I sent them a letter just recently. And I said, you're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. And we're going to either have to talk and talk it out, or very bad things are going to happen to Iran. And I don't want that to happen. Big preference, and I don't say this through strength or weakness, my big preference is we work it out with Iran. But if we don't work it out, bad things are going to happen to Iran. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Guys, let's go. Come on, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Quickly,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Let's go, guys. Thank you. Let's go.
Okay, so in the grand scheme of live streaming, sometimes stuff breaks. That wasn't my feed. That was coming directly from the White House, and they were having a whole bunch of, hold on a second, let me just pause that. They were having a whole bunch of problems, and so as you saw, I just wanted to make sure I couldn't put your comments up, because if anybody came in, Barry, what's wrong with the feed? I wanted you to be able to see it. So it wasn't me, so it was the feed. But nonetheless, President Trump powered through it, didn't have any problems. He swore in, or had Pam Bondi swear in Alina Habba so she can head to Jersey next week and get to work there. He talked, something we touched on yesterday, he talked about the interest payments on cars. I don't think enough people are understanding just how big of a deal that is, that if you've never been in a position to, file a Schedule C or deduct or itemize any deductions on your taxes, if most people are just filing the 1040 or the 1040EZ rather, and just filling in a couple different lines, you're going to get a different kind of tax form. You are going to be able to deduct your interest payments on a new car. That could be, not a whole lot, but it could be $1,000 a year. Nonetheless, it's money back in your pocket. And I think what it's going to happen, here's my prediction. As people begin to itemize a deduction for interest on a car, you're going to find people who never did any deductions start to educate themselves and like, wait a minute, I just bought this new dress, this new outfit for work. I can deduct that? I took this outfit to the cleaners. Can I deduct that? I drive myself, because I'm a salesperson. Can I deduct the mileage? See, I'm not going to tell you what you can deduct, but you're going to have to begin educating yourself on all the different deductions that may apply to you. If you haven't been deducting from your taxes, this is going to be a wake-up call. Watch what happens as people begin, once it gets approved, that you can, I can deduct the interest off my car payment. Well, the next question should be, well, what else can I deduct? And then you're going to be able to start teaching people, yourselves, your family, your kids, as they get older, educate them to the rules of the tax code. Most people exist their entire life and never realize the tax code, the way it's written on the surface, is meant to keep you in a certain position. And just watch. You'll see. You're going to see people, maybe even in this chat in a few months, going, "Hey, I didn't know I could deduct that. I can take that right off the top." Yeah, you're definitely going to see that. That's really going to open some eyes. Let me just make sure I wasn't getting a text from Ashley or anybody yet. Okay, so in addition to that, he talked about what is a woman. And it's funny because when you ask most men, real men, what's a woman, you're going to get the same answer. Wait, is this some sort of joke? Of course I know what a woman is. Because, there's things that are different. Yes, I understand. I loved how he went into the psyche of a woman. Because, there's one out there, right outside here, who he just defined perfectly. We know, and women, there's a difference between a man and a woman. And any man you ask that question is probably going to talk about his wife. Exactly. So be ready to buy a car. That's all I'm saying. You're going to put yourself in a position to buy a car. He mentioned what was going on in Greenland. In case you didn't know until just now, Vice President Vance and his wife are over Greenland. Greenland obviously is very important to this president. The Democrats missing the boat completely on this again. They just don't even understand why Greenland is important. And in fact, they don't care. If it's an idea put forth by Donald Trump, they just have to reflexively say, "Oh, it sucks, it's crazy," without even delving into it. And most of them don't even know. From a strategic position, monetarily and national security, why Greenland could be a very, very, very important piece. So check this out. This was J.D. Vance and his wife landing in Greenland and then meeting some soldiers.
President Vance, how's it feel?
Hey guys, how we doing? Please, at ease. At ease. Good Lord, sit down and eat. Sit down and eat. Don't let the Vice President stop you guys from getting your chow here. How we doing? It's cold as shit here. Nobody told me. Well, thank you all for everything you do, and thanks for having us. So please sit down, guys. Please, please. I want you to eat your food. Usha and I are thrilled to be here. It's a really beautiful flight, actually. You fly over some pretty cool spots. I've never been to Greenland. Apparently, I'm the first vice president to ever visit Greenland, so that's a pretty cool thing. But we're looking forward to hanging out and getting to know you guys and understanding what you do. So I think what do we have? So we're gonna talk to the command and some of the guardians about what exactly the base does and all the important ways it contributes to national security. We're going to get a briefing, of course, about what you guys do every day, and then we're going to talk just about, as you've heard, we have some interest in Greenland from the Trump administration. So we're going to talk a little bit about that with our friends in the media. But I just want to say thank you all. Thanks for having us, and thanks for being here. Thanks for doing what you do. The colonel told me that this is a one-year unaccompanied duty station. When we were flying in, we were wondering whether you guys were allowed to bring your families here. So I know it's a lot of sacrifice to spend a year away from your families, but the mission is really important. The Trump administration, the president is really interested in Arctic security. As you all know, it's a big issue, and it's only going to get bigger over the coming decades. So thanks for doing what you do.
So I really myself am not sure about why Greenland is such an integral part of what Donald Trump wants to do, but I'm about to find out. We're going to talk to some Greenland experts over the next week and see if we can't get somebody on here to tell us all about Greenland and what it means. It was so funny. Yes, he did use a bad word in describing the temperature there. Those of us, sometimes we use bad words. We don't mean anything bad by it, but I guess he was shocked because when he got off the plane in Greenland, it was 18 degrees Fahrenheit, but with the wind chill factor, it had a feel-like temperature of 9 degrees. Whew. It's cold up there. Probably spring for the people who live in Greenland, but it was 9 degrees when he got there. So I just wanted to include that. Somebody had asked in a comment, did I change the format of the show? No? No, I wanted to show that piece with Donald Trump swearing in Alina Habba, and then he mentioned Greenland, so I wanted to mention that because I saw him get off the plane. But now we're going to get into, it's 45 minutes later, thanks to Donald Trump, but now we're going to get into the show. Let's go.
We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever, ever, ever been before. We will take over our horribly run Washington, D.C. and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital so that it is no longer a nightmare of murder and crime. We're going to get all the graffiti off the marble. We're going to fix the roads and the medians, which are falling down all over the streets. Washington, D.C. will become a symbol of beauty, security, freedom, and strength.
What Elon did with our agency is going to help our agency. So I'm very grateful to him he came in for the first time with a real org chart for the agency. The agency org chart.
Before I get to RFK Jr. and Chris Cuomo, can you even fathom? I don't know if you've ever been to Washington, D.C., but it's a crap hole. I mean, it's almost third worldish. And I can't believe in the year 2025, as I check the calendar, that with all of the congressmen, all the senators, all the history of presidents being in Washington, D.C., why now in just 2025 are we looking at this crap hole of a city, a festering boil on America where crime is rampant and there's all kinds of just degenerate stuff going on? Why suddenly did somebody say, you know what, you need to clean this up? You need to do something about this. This is absolutely disgusting. And those of you who have been to D.C., you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's got some nice pockets where, you know, the different streets near the Capitol and things of that nature, but the entirety of Washington, D.C., there's places I won't go. I don't want to be caught dead in those places at night. So, yes, it's time to clean up D.C. In fact, you know, you heard the rumblings. I would be all for basically the government taking over D.C. The mayors of D.C. have been suspect at best, all the way back to even before Marion Barry and with his coke habit and everything else. They just don't do the right thing. This is our nation's capital. This is the place where people from other countries show up, and we have to tell them, don't go over here. Okay, whatever you do, just go look at the Washington Monument, go look at the Lincoln Memorial, look at the Jefferson Memorial, but then don't go in certain places because it ain't cool. And how do I say this? D.C. used to stand for something else in the hood. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, the first word was dark, but time to clean it up. Time to clean it up. That's my feeling on D.C., having been there many a times, and just can't believe that that's our nation capital. Because if you didn't know, you would think everything was about the memorials, the monuments, the White House, Congress, Capitol Hill, and you don't realize what's all around it. And all around it, encapsulating those pillars of America, are a dirty, scummy area that needs to be fixed up. And I don't care if somebody gets upset by that, because we know who inhabits most of those areas. Again, Georgetown, perfect, nice. Don't go too far outside it. That's why everybody lives in Alexandria. That's why they live in Virginia. Yeah. Imagine if Washington itself was just a very pristine city. Bring it back. Bring it back. All right, now we'll talk to Chris Cuomo and RFK Jr.
Elon did with our agency is going to help our agency. So I'm very grateful to him he came in for the first time with a real org chart for the agency. The agency org chart when I arrived was incomprehensible. There was no chain of command. There were people operating in all these different silos and fiefdoms, and they were so territorial and so self-serving that they were selling patient information to each other. So I tried to get the CMS patient information, which belongs to the American people and belongs to HHS. And the sub-agencies said we have to buy it from them. And it doesn't make any sense. There are sub-agencies that refuse to give us patient data. This is depersonalized data. And we need to make America healthy again. What Elon is doing is he's using AI to improve health, to improve efficiency, to improve delivery. And he had a bunch of geniuses come over to the department, create an org chart that worked, and consolidate. We have many divisions that are doing the exact same thing. We need to consolidate them and give them a sense of mission, to invite them to participate in making our country healthier again. And I think that's why we're getting, a very, very strong, enthusiastic reaction from people within the agency. And of course, it's hard to lose workers. We're going from 82,000 workers to 62,000. That's tough on everybody. But I think in the long run, we're going to have much greater morale in a demoralized agency.
Have you ever owned or worked in a company that was failing? It's not a good situation to be in. Because if you're working in this company, and hopefully it's not something you own, but if you're working in this company and finally the stockholders go, we got to change the CEO. This thing is failing. It's not making us any money. It's losing money. There's problems here. It's not productive. What do we need to do? Well, the new CEO comes in place, usually brings in their management team, their hand-picked people to make sure that they understand his vision or her vision, as it may be. And oftentimes when they come in, they're assessing everything. And they're looking, and they're saying, okay, first thing, how much revenue do we have? Got it. What do our expenses look like? Whoa, okay. Right off the bat, we're underwater. So what do we need to do to get even? Let's just get even. And so in order for us to get even, I need every department manager to come to me with, hopefully it's just a 10%, maybe it's 20%, but whatever that number is to get even, I'm going to ask everybody in every department, come to me with X number of reductions that you can basically commit to our rebuild. If we got to get a 20%, if we got to get 15, if we got to get 25, whatever that number is, marketing, I need 25% from you. Sales, I need 25% from you. Grounds and administration, I need 25% from you, and so on. And so they have to come in with a plan. I've had to do this and say, okay, for me to cut 25%, 20%, whatever it is, off of my budget, here's how I can get there. We can take this much off of advertising. We can get rid of these 2 or 3 employees. We can start using UPS instead of FedEx, and we can cut down on travel. Thanks, Barry. Thanks for your recommendations. I cut my 25%. Now, I want you to take that over a vast agency, an agency like RFK Jr. just said, of 85,000 people. And if he did the exact same thing, what's going to happen? Well, marketing is going to say, hey, I need 25%. Give me 25% back. And then he's left with, okay, we're going to cut this, we're going to cut this, we're going to cut this. And unfortunately, we're going to cut 10, 15, 20,000 positions. For too long, government has treated your money as a slush fund, where every single person, once they come in the door, never leaves. Never leaves on their own, never is asked to leave. They're just, you're stuck with them. And so you've got people in Congress and people in the Senate, and my dog barking, who don't understand this is a business. You have to treat this as a business. The American people have given you their stewardship to say, make sure that our funds are spent accordingly. And nothing ever gets cut from government. In fact, even if they're left with money left over, like Kash Patel has said many times, even if there's money left over at the end of the fiscal year, what do? Oh, we got to go ahead and spend it. Well, why don't we just not spend it? Because if we don't spend it, then they're going to say we didn't need it, and our budget next year is going to be less. So at the end of the year, which I've done this many a times, most people's at end of their fiscal year, September before the October year, I will hit up businesses in September and make that phone call. That phone call is some of the most prosperous phone calls I've ever made. And Barry, you're thinking, what is this phone call? Hey, excuse me. Yeah. You got any surplus dollars you got to get rid of before the end of the month? The end of the quarter? You got any surplus dollars? And you would be amazed how many times people say, yeah, I have to spend $30, $40, $50, $100,000. I've seen it. I've prospered from it. When I would do my concerts, I would say, I need a sponsorship. And I would, wherever that sponsorship was, if it fell in that area of time, I would say, I got something for you. Yeah, you could put 30 grand, 50 grand, 80 grand into this if you need to get rid of it. And damn if they didn't say, okay, send us over a contract. Scout's honor. Scout's honor. Robin could even tell you that. It was amazing because people would say to me, how did you know that? Because one, you can go look up their corporate end of their fiscal year. It's published. 2, you can pull some statements off the SEC and you know what their budgets were. And so when I'm calling somebody, I would say, hey, listen, I see that you had a $10 million marketing budget last year. I just wonder if, as you're getting close to the end of your fiscal year, do you have any extra surplus money? And many people are surprised when you ask them that question, like, yeah, I'm sitting on about 200 grand. I haven't been able to spend yet. I'm like, oh, I'm the guy for you. I'm here right for you. I'm going to put your name all over the Clinton Black concert. Sponsored by XYZ. Cut the check. So what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going, and he's like, listen, we're going to cut. And Elon Musk, his job isn't much different than most CEOs. He's going in as a CEO of many different companies, unlike RFK Jr. and other politicians, and that's all he's doing. You got waste here, you got fraud here, you got way too many people. Oh, this doesn't make any sense. Cut. You can run your operation with this. This is all you need. Well, why does that not make sense? Why wouldn't any person go, well, if I could run it with this, why am I bloated up to here? Cut the bloat, you're good. No entitlements, no payments, no Social Security, no Medicare, no Medicaid, nothing of that. None of that's getting cut. I know walking in, I can take that budget, look at it. Okay, where, like Trump said, scalpel, not sledgehammer. All right, don't touch this. Look at this and tell me how you can find 15 to 25%. Pretty easy, isn't it? Before I go out, I'd love to hear what you guys are saying about this. Let's see, we go, yeah, much more efficient. That's not a bad word. We go through our cost report monthly. Yeah, it's just typical. Anytime you've been in a directorial or managerial position, you got to run those reports. We've all done it. And I'm amazed when I see Democrats complaining. I'm like, have you people never, ever done anything in your life? Did you just show up to Washington and figure, hey, this is a cush job. I don't got to do anything. And I get everything. And so when someone comes to you and says, hey, man, we need to cut some dollars, you're like, I don't even know how to do that. No, I don't even know. Barry, you're so right. The NIH never fired people. The motto is a crime to give leftover money back to the government. Because it's not their money. See, at least when you're talking to someone who's run a company, you know that extra money is shareholder dollars. That is shareholder equity. Whether that shareholder is an owner and his friends that have invested, or it's actual stockholders. There's no such thing as money I gotta spend. That's ridiculous. And so most companies, they hide it, especially if they're already profitable. And they, like I said, hey, you want to spend it? Yeah, spend it, because you got to get that budget again next year. I had to do that where I work. Cut. Yeah, Chad says I took over a business, and the first week I terminated 32 employees, and it sucks. Nobody likes doing that, but your job as a manager, director, CEO, whatever, is not to just provide people with jobs. It's to have the business make money, which is the antithesis of what the Democrats believe. The Democrats believe the company should be providing jobs for people who just need jobs. You know, the whole living wage BS. I'm like, no, if you want a living wage, go to school and learn something. I'm not going to give you $25 an hour to flip a hamburger. There's too many people. The market adjusts that. And now, you know what, things are slow. I don't even need 4 people flipping hamburgers. So I got to chop them. I'm sorry if it sounds so commoditized, but that's what it is. That's what business is. And the thing that's freaking out Democrats right now is that they've never, ever, ever had somebody like Trump come in with a business background and say, you know what, we're going to get this in order just like a business. And we've heard the arguments many, many times where people say, but government's not a business. To which I would say, why not? If I can remember, our founding fathers did have careers in government. In fact, like right now when they're on hiatus and they go back to their districts, that's because many of them had to go back to work. Many of them flew home. Oh, they didn't fly back then, but they rode the horse. and went back to work. I got to go check the farm. I got to go check the printing press. I got to go check the cannery. Whatever it was, they had to work. So they had the mindset of doing business. I don't know what the hell happened since then. I don't know how it turned into this bloat of incompetency. So every time somebody goes, government's not business, I'm like, you sure about that? Go back and look at what George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, go look and see what they did. See if their occupation was politician. You're going to get your feelings hurt. There was no occupation politician. Hi, I'm a writer. I do this. I do that. I run a farm. I'm a butcher. Whatever it was. And I just happened to go to Philadelphia, or in some cases Washington, D.C., to just make laws for the country. People need to understand their history. And that's the problem. Democrats don't want to have anything to do with history, and they don't want anyone else going back and looking stuff up. Because once people look up, then they realize that government's not doing what they want it to be. I'm serious. Go back and look. Look up and see what Thomas Jefferson or, any of those guys were doing back then. They were raising families, number one. And number two, some of them, yes, they had slaves. That was it. That was the time. And most of them had businesses. So very quick, let me read this out for you right now. What if your morning coffee didn't just wake you up? What if it had a purpose to it? What if it actually, and I do mean this, what if it made you younger per se? That's why 1775 created Rejuvenate, the first coffee infused with CAAKG, a clinically proven ingredient to fight aging at the cellular level. You're still getting that pure 1775 coffee quality, single origin beans, small batch roasting, and specialty grade coffee ethically sourced from small farms. But now each cup fires up your metabolism, boosts your energy, and turns back the clock. You see me, right? I'm not a young guy, but I have energy again. By up to 8 biological years, it can turn back the clock that far with 8 biological years in just 7 months. And yes, they do have studies that prove that. I'm not making it up, and they're not making it up. 1775 Rejuvenate officially drops on April 15th. Interesting day. But you can lock in your pre-order right now, and every dollar you spend still enters you to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 in cash. Just make sure you get the insurance in place so when the idiots try to carve into your Cybertruck, you're going to get your money back and get it fixed. Head over to 1775coffee.com, use promo code Barry for 15% off, and there you can drink your age away. All right, so let me take some comments on what you guys have heard so far. Sometimes I think Starbucks is something in their beans to keep you addicted to their coffee. Well, I mean, maybe. I'm not really sure. I want some chocolate. Barry is growing. I hope that's a good grow. Hope I'm not filling up too much of the screen. Dear son, there will be a B super new moon event if not cloudy. Yeah, okay, exactly. Government is a simulation. It's so very true. Barry, but streamlining business is going to get rid of the newcomers if there aren't any. I'm laughing because I don't want to cry. You're exactly right. They're so worried about the newcomers not having jobs. I mean, we're getting very close to the Supreme Court or something happening in terms of the people being redistributed, sent to other countries. Something's going to break real soon. It has to, because these people are absolutely nuts. The judges need to go to jail as far as I'm concerned, and they just need to be done away with. All right, so let's continue.
I want to address consumers as well, because there's going to be a lot of talk about how consumers are going to be hit hard, but you got to remember a couple of things. One of the big promises on the campaign trail, which President Trump will fulfill, is a major tax benefit for Americans who buy American-made cars. And if you look at what we were giving away for the EVs, that's like $7,000 per car as much. And then if you look at the gas prices, we averaged $1 less per gallon during the first Trump administration than Biden did during his 4 years. $1. What's that? That's about $1,000 we save for consumers when we get that back down through drill, baby, drill. So there's just a lot of moving parts. And whenever you look at what President Trump's doing, you got to look at the totality of the policies. And what we're trying to do is raise wages. And by the way, I was listening to your last guest, and it's just like this notion that somehow tariffs are going to hurt productivity. It's just
I just wanted to pause there because look at the bottom stock that he's talking about, or well, rather CNBC is showing. Funny to me. All the normal automakers are all in the red at the time that this was broadcast this morning. Isn't it? You find that interesting? Ford in the red, General Motors in the red, Toyota in the red, Tesla up. Just saying. I'm just saying. With everything they're trying to do to Tesla, with everything they're artificially trying to push on Tesla in terms of the negative publicity, it's hanging tight. It's hanging tight. Just keep an eye on it for those of you looking at investing. Let's continue with Peter.
It's ridiculous and defies historical experience. What happens when President Trump does tariffs? We get trillions of dollars of new investment into this country. When you add more machines and capital to the worker base, that makes productivity fly, and that's the key to keeping down inflation and keeping real wages up. And remember, during Biden's administration, real wages plummeted. During Trump's administration, we were very proud of this. Real wages for the deplorables of this country, the middle class and the blue-collar workers, they went up. So, big picture.
So I'm going to begin doing some different things with some financial integration with the shows. Ashley you're going to love this. On Monday, we're going to be talking to a guy, you probably know him, but he tracks the trades of people in Congress. And he's going to tell you how these people in Congress are manipulating insider trading and making a ton of money. An absolute ton of money. What's his name from Bleacher Report? Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy saw what one of the Congress people were doing just because of what he saw on this guy's site. And he goes, okay, well then let me put in $500,000. Since they're in here, I'm going to put in $500,000. He made like 150% on his money in over like 3 or 4 days. So we're gonna talk to this guy on Monday who follows the stock trades of the very same people who tell you that the tariffs are bad. Why would they be investing and moving money into various different things if the economy's so bad? They're lying to you. And they count on the rubes out there not understanding that everything President Trump is doing is going to help this economy. I'm going to say, I'm going to show you something in a little while that's going to prove that to you. It's absolutely going to prove it to you. But let's continue.
I promised that feedback I was going to go to Boston. I'm going to bring hell with me, and we did. I was in Boston this last Tuesday. I started an operation with ICE, HSI, ERO, FBI, ATF, DEA, U.S. Marshals, and the State Department. And in a 5-day operation, we arrested 370 illegal aliens in Boston and the surrounding communities in Massachusetts, and 205 of those were significant public safety threats, including 4 murderers, child rapists, armed robbers, a couple of Interpol red notice arrests. We arrested
I thought you couldn't do it. You know, we keep hearing the news how the judges are saying you can't deport these people. I think it's time to start, as much as you're detaching from MSNBC and CNN, maybe it's time to start detaching from these court filings. Maybe it's time to start looking at these judges and going, say whatever you want. We don't care, okay? We are at the point right now where President Trump is using the authority given to him under the Constitution, and he is saying that trumps, no pun intended, that trumps your little district court ruling. So do what you want. I still got Tom doing what he needs to do.
A lot of bad people in the last 5 days in Massachusetts, many of them in Boston. We just put the numbers again today. You're the first show I've actually been able to talk about this. The numbers just got put out today, Bill.
Well, Tom, you need to come here. Tom, we welcome you. Ashley, you'll talk to Tom. Tom, get over here. You don't have to worry about them putting it out. We'll put it out anytime you want to talk. We'd love to hear your information. I want to see all of this happen. This is what we voted for. We're seeing the numbers. Remember the big, beautiful chart that President Trump always talks about, the one he turned his head just before he almost got wasted? It was funny because now that chart looks like this. It's low, low, low. It jumped up during Biden, and it's right back to where it was when he was president. You didn't need any new laws. You didn't need any extra money. You just needed a new president, and he has proved it. And one of the reasons why I like Tom Homan, and I like Caroline Leavitt, and of course President Trump, and this next person is because the Democrats don't know what to do, because I said it last night. We are dealing with an administration who have chips on their shoulders, including Alina Habba. They're all walking around with chips on their shoulders, and they don't have one F to give. And the media doesn't know how to respond. The Democrat politicians don't know how to respond because they don't think twice about putting you in your place. Watch what Marjorie Taylor Greene does right here.
Anybody else?
Should the defense secretary...
What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
The UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your report.
Oh my gosh. You can see when she, those guys, you've been around some women, right? And when they give you that look like, oh, never mind. That's when you leave the room. That's when you get that turn like that. Honey, I'm just going to go back in the den, okay? I'm going to go back in my office and make some video. I'm going to play with my camera, okay? I'm out. When you're talking to a woman and she gives you that kind of look, shut up, backpedal, leave the room. There's nothing good is going to happen from that point on. So when this reporter saw her turn her head and give it to her, never mind, but nonetheless, here we go.
Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
Okay,
and no. You should care about your own borders.
Do you care about American lives?
No. Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Do you care about
by migrants? No. Do you care? Okay, you're done.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
You know what? I don't care.
Service members fighting for your country.
I don't care about your fake news. Do you have a relevant question? Yeah, this is an American journalist. Thank you.
I'm going to hear your answer to what she's asking.
I'm not answering her question because I don't care about her network. If you would like to ask, I can answer.
Do you have any concerns whatsoever about the complete disregard of operational security from the top level of this administration?
You want to know about complete disregard about operational security? You should talk about the Biden administration and how they ripped our borders open to terrorists, cartel, child sex trafficking, human trafficking, and drug trafficking across our borders for 4 years. The Trump administration is doing a great job, and I stand by their statements. I stand by their statements. My comment to you is I'm thankful to President Trump that he is leading us out of wars, that he's ending the war in Ukraine, where American lives could have been killed if Joe Biden was still president today, whether he liked it or not. We're talking about NPR and PBS today. We're talking about fake news that was funded with federal funding from American taxpayers. That's what this is about today, not journalists from the UK that should care about their...
journalist is being vilified for...
In terms of...
Ooh, if you're going to step to her, you better bring your big girl and big boy panties. Because, you got more than you bargained for. You wanted the sound bite, you got more than the bite. You got the whole sandwich. She gave you a sound sandwich. I love this administration. We've never seen this in politics before. Everybody, how will this people react if I say this? Or which way is the wind blowing? I'm going to tell you, may not like it, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm thinking. So be sure when you ask me a question, you don't piss me off, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you to your face, and she just did. I don't care about your crap network. She might as well said, I don't care about your crap country. That's pretty much what she said to her. So just go away, go scurry away, go there over there with your inundated newcomer government over there. How dare you come and ask an American congresswoman about our infiltration and our national security when you can't even go in certain areas of your country, when half your country at certain times of the day out of loudspeakers, don't come here. We don't want to hear that. You've already folded. You've already waved the white flag of surrender. You got nothing. And if it's not us protecting you, I'm sorry, you're toast. Did you hear what President Trump said earlier when he was at the swearing-in ceremony for Alina Habba? Guy goes, what did the guy say? Hey, there was an earthquake over there in Thailand or Burma or wherever. Can you guys help? Yeah, we answered the call. We're going to help. We're humanitarians. You always call us. You always call us, and Americans are very, 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 very eager to help. We never say no. There'll be a telethon or something. I'll go to my Thai restaurant, and they may have a cup, and I'll put money in the cup. We never say no. But who helps us? Amazing deficit, people starving in the street, people homeless. I don't see England writing us a check. I don't see Thailand really writing us a check. Can you just, not for government favors, just to help? And so, yeah, our government at this point may piss some people off because we don't care what you think. We're going to get shit done. We're going to take care of business. We're going to move forward, whether you like it or not. Now go over there and worry about the Ayatollah doing everything he's doing in the UK, and how you're folding, and how the men who are leading you squat to pee. That's what I would have told her. Deal with that. In fact, was it King Charles? King Charles. He's king now. He even just succumbed to them. He's talking about different, it's crazy. What did Donna? No Dems allowed. Says, we always accommodate them militarily, and we pay a lot for our military, but they don't want to pay tariffs. I'll never disagree with tariffs. No. It's okay for them to tax us, but we can't tax you. Why? I don't know how anybody makes it. Well, but they're our ally. Well, how come our ally is making us bend over? Yeah, 37 trillion in debt. Sorry. We got nothing left. We'll help you. Well, America will help you come out of your bad ordeal. But, now it's the time to say no. Democrats don't ever want to say no. There are no telethons anymore. They all went the route of getting funds from NGOs. Yeah, go ahead and ask certain bands. Do a concert for Bangladesh type thing. You remember all those concerts? Live Aid. Do that. Get them all together and say, hey, we need to raise money for Thailand. We need to raise money and get them on stage and have them. Taylor Swift can probably put 80,000 people in a stadium herself. People used to make fun of Michael Jackson, but you know what? He was one of the first ones to answer the call if people needed money. As crazy as he was, and who knows what the other stuff he did, but We Are the World didn't happen without him and a couple other people. Just watch. Wall Street is going to concoct a calamity April 2nd, but don't believe it. Towers built on the sand. It was horrible watching it, too, when that happened. I mean, there was a guy up in a crane, and he was done for. AIDS concerts, always AIDS concerts. Back in my day, I worked Live Aid here, not over in England. The Live Aid here in Philadelphia, I actually worked there. I was backstage security. They pulled up a bus and a whole lot of food, and we all volunteered to go work security. A whole bunch of football players from different schools were backstage looking like brawlers. So it was fun. It was great. We got to see a whole bunch of different celebrities. That's probably where I got the carrot stuck in my mouth in terms of wanting to be in the music business, was working at Live Aid. So, and then I'm going off again on music. And then Monsters of Rock, those two shows, that I was done. Actually, the show I was done was when I worked security for a tour that to this day I still have memories of. It was U2 and the Police. Whew. amazing, amazing. But anyway, exactly, that's what charities are for. Don't force it on the taxpayers, and especially the American taxpayers. That's where, people just have always thought it's our obligation. All right, let's continue.
If you had to figure out what the education department does in terms of budget, it seems like the bulk of it is promoting college, university, Pell Grants, loans.
Yeah, that's just about it. It was almost, I think it was a little more than 40% of what the budget was, and the people in the Department of Education were really relative to student loans. And, that student loans used to be in the private sector. It was President Obama that brought it in and put it into the Department of Education.
So right there, that little bit of information she had should make you go side-eye. Why would you bring student loans? The administration, the origination, all of it. Why would you bring student loans into a facility, a group of people, personnel, who have never done anything with loans? They don't know anything about it. And what I just said will probably make some of you just go, huh? Why did Obama take it and make it and put it in this department, Department of Education? Now you know why. Now we're finding out why. Because they could steal it. He knew exactly what he was doing. Hey, let's not let any business people or people who know how to audit things worry about the student loans. Let's put it in the Department of Education. Because these people are idiots, and we can just tell them and tell Wally the Nigerian to pay everything. And you put lending American dollars in the hands of people who don't know crap about lending. That's a great job. Wow. And so all Trump has done is says, I don't need the Department of Education anymore. We're going to put it over here with people who know how to give out loans.
Not a bank. So all of the collection process, et cetera, is all done through outside vendors, which you pay middleman fee to help to have that happen. So my view, and I've had good conversations with Secretary Bessent, and also the President and I, and Scott Bessent, have had conversations with Kelly Loeffler from SBA. So is there a mechanism that would be in place that would better serve this? And so in terms of collection process, et cetera, Treasury does that really well. And there is clearly a good acceptance from Scott's point of view that this would be a place for the House. New loans going forward, we might consider looking at SBA to have sort of a guarantee program, but that's really, really in future conversations. First of all, we want to make sure this collection process is working because, believe it or not, and I know COVID threw a wrench into things, but since March of 2020, right around COVID time, there has not been any collection for outstanding student loans. And why would they have? The Biden administration was saying, we're going to forgive your loans. Right. They tried to circumvent.
I'm sorry. Did you just hear what she just said? Since 2020, whatever, we haven't even tried to collect. Can you imagine any business person going, okay, what about all these loans that we have? Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay. And nobody thought anything worse. You don't think you want to collect on this stuff? All these loans we gave out? Nope, COVID came, forget about it. We're not gonna bother collecting. Just imagine that. You are in any business or division and you find out our government has given out, never mind forgiveness of the debt that Biden tried to do, they didn't even try to collect. Hey, you're 12 months behind on your loan. Can you send us a payment? They didn't even try to collect. Why did they not try to collect? Well, because is it possible they knew a good amount of the loans that they gave out were given out to fake people with no phone numbers, no addresses, nothing. It was just money that was stolen. Why do you think, right now, knowing everything you hear about DOGE, why do you think that Biden was so aggressive in trying to forgive student debt? If you put two and two together, you realize at this point what they were trying to do was stop the new administration from coming in and collecting on stuff they would never have any opportunity to collect on. Now you're seeing it. Like, wait a second. Hey, man, we've got like billions of these loans out here that we stole the money from. And we don't want them trying to collect. So let's put out we forgive everything. Nobody has to pay their college loans. So if the new administration came in, there would be no reason to ever look at the college loans because they're all forgiven. There's nothing to collect, nothing to look at. Nothing here. But because the Supreme Court said no, then what did he say? I got to find a way to get around the Supreme Court. We can't have them looking at these student loans. And it didn't work. And so wait until you see what comes out when you find out billions and billions and billions of student loans over years went to people who didn't exist. It's coming. That's why they tried to forgive the debt, because if they forgave the debt, nobody would ever open the books.
The Supreme Court and their rulings to forgive other loans, and it's just not fair to all taxpayers to have them pay for student loans when they might have paid their own, or their own taxpayer dollars should be spent in other ways rather than forgiving loans, except for service agreements which Congress has passed. So for those in public service, like teachers or first responders, a certain amount of payment that goes into their loans, and once those payments have been done, then they are allowed to be forgiven. We're talking about 10 years and a consistency of payments for that.
Let me correct.
Just imagine that. Obama was president a long time ago, and then COVID happened. And just think how much money went out the doors, and you have to look at again, get your war room set up, and as you're checking out, this university, this university, this university, that university, that university, Department of Education, NEA, teachers unions, blah, blah, blah. And we got all these student loans, fake student loans, and we're paying schools, just paying them money, just going into Harvard and Yale, and it just shows up. Or some of it doesn't show up because it went into so-and-so's pocket. And now you say, hey, let's forgive them all so nobody can ever look. You have been scammed for so long that they never thought this would happen. And now this is why this animal called the Democrat Party is screaming to high heaven. And this is why these judges are screaming along with them. There are too many people who are going to get caught up in this. And you may see other judges looking the other way. You may see people in Congress looking the other way. This is bad. This is catastrophic for the deep state and the not so deep state. All of them. They're all going down. And they should. Every single one of them.
Because I have the best sources in the White House of any reporter in the country. He's not protecting anybody. Believe me, all of them got the message, including J.D. Vance. All right, that if you do it again, you're done. You're hit.
Well, J.D. Vance can't be done because he's an elected official, but the other ones, yeah. But I agree with Bill O'Reilly here. And you probably can agree with Bill O'Reilly because you've seen Trump. You know how he's running things. You don't need a great source. Whoever his source is in the White House, you have as good a source as he does. You know Donald Trump. Everything you're seeing right now, you know from reading his books and hearing him talk and everything else, when the doors were shut, he probably came in and said, what the F did you people do? What did you do? What did you do? I've seen it. I've seen it in his business dealings. He probably ripped them all a new one. And then the doors open. And, hey, listen, we're looking into it, and we're really going to get to the bottom. Because I've also been in huddles. What in the hell is Coach calling? But when you break that huddle, you all run those plays to the best of your ability. You may completely agree, disagree. You may be screaming at each other. Coach may put his fist in your face and tell you screwed up. But you know what? Get back out there and do the best you can. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting your ass on the bench. So I have no doubt I don't need a White House source. You don't need a White House source. You know President Trump at this point. You've seen him. Remember, this guy got shot in the head. I ain't letting you people screw this up. And if you can't get it right, get the hell out. So understand when you're hearing these people talk about their sources, you don't need one. You got him.
History. But the president is not going to say that to the public. You want him to. CNN wants him to, but he's not going to do it. But to think that he's just blithely going along and this is okay is a fantasy. It's not true. He's angry about it. Why? Because it made him look bad.
If you've ever seen the movie The Untouchables, when the classic scene when idiot Robert De Niro, back when he was cool, we'd watch his movies, and he's walking around with the baseball bat around the dinner table. And he's like, your team is only as good as, and he's talking about it, and unfortunately, what did he do? He took the baseball bat and beat the crap out of the guy who messed up. Just beat him up. Stuff splurting out of his head right in front of everybody else. Well, obviously Donald Trump didn't do that, but I conjured up the vision after I heard what had happened, and I went, he busted some heads. I'm sure heads rolled. He took them all into the skiff. Take your cell phones, do whatever you need. Here, everybody in? Door locked? Okay. What the F did you people do? I'm sure there was a meeting and said, okay, I want everybody in this thing in an hour. All of them. Susie, call them all. Get them all on the phone. Caroline Levitt, call them all. I don't care what they're doing. Fly in. Get your asses in the skiff. And then he probably tore some butt. Tore some butt for quite some time. And now fix it. And that's what Pete Hegseth better do.
Counter diversity, equity, inclusion. What's your assessment now, 3 months in trying to undo a lot of those programs?
My assessment is the DOD will be merit-based and colorblind. You will be judged based on how good you are at your job. Full stop. That's it. And so getting rid of diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, getting rid of different standards.
See, this is one of the problems I have with the DEI-laden left. That's why I kind of like that, DEI-laden left. The thing is, shouldn't all jobs be based upon how good you perform? You are the best person, man or woman, for this marketing position. You are the best person for this HR position. Well, I've screened resumes from everybody who put them in. We got 1,000 resumes for your position. You're the best of the best. I could not ever imagine looking at a job opening and somebody saying, okay, wait a second, you got 5 white people, you got to have 10 black, because, you know, they work twice as hard, and then you got to have like 9 Asians, and from there, you got to make sure a couple of them are gay, and, you know, from there, you got to figure out, based upon how many other employees, which pool you get. Can't I just pick the best person? If we do that, you might not have the right ratio. I was talking to Robin about this the other night. We were watching Survivor for the last time. And I'm thinking to myself, they pick these people to come onto the island knowing their personality. They know they probably have a psychiatrist on staff who says, this kind of personality will conflict with this kind of personality, and this kind of personality will, you get where I'm going. Because one of the questions I've always asked on Survivor is, if you've ever watched Survivor and you say to yourself, I'm going to sign up for Survivor, wouldn't you not know at least 2 skills? You better be a good swimmer, because they're going to throw you in the water. So don't go there and look like you can't swim. You should know you need to be a good swimmer. Number 2, spend 6 months learning how to make fire. How about a 3rd skill? Do you know how to fish? They're going to put you on an island with a whole lot of food available. You don't just have to eat rice. You just have to know how to catch fish. You never see people catching fish. I'm like, so this is obviously on purpose. They probably have some sort of survey or questionnaire, and it's like, hey, have you ever been fishing before? Nope. That one will be good. Yeah, they don't even know how to catch fish. So right away, they're probably only counting the people who don't know how to catch fish. They would never have picked Robin because Robin's like, yeah, my father was a boat captain and I used to go fishing probably, 4 or 5 times a week, and I would tie my own knots, and we knew how to... that's not going to work. You're going to catch a whole bunch of fish, and these people are going to get fat and happy on this island. We can't have that. Turn it on any Wednesday night and see none of these people know how to catch fish. Okay. How many else are really good swimmers? Oh, there's always going to be a couple people who can't swim. Why would you put them on your show? Then you're going to find out that a couple of people are fat and slobby. Hey man, didn't you know you were going to go out on this island and eat coconuts and rice for like 40 days and then have to run around and, oh God, I hurt so much. And then the other one. This all does tie together. Barry's just not going on. I am so sick of turning on some reality show and watching some man start crying. It's 3 weeks. No, 39 days, 4 weeks. My wife would kick me out the house, go to the island, do whatever you need to do. You're going to be gone for 40 days? Thank you, I'm going shopping. See you when you get back. Those of you guys who are married here or have girlfriends, you crying after like 2 I miss my dog. I miss my girlfriend. Wow. So they're picking these people because, never mind the sexuality part. I didn't even go there. So they're picking these people knowing what makes good TV. It's been their own DEI department for a long time. That's what the government's been doing. They know, hey, we're going to pick this guy because whatever it is, this trans person is going to be, in our marketing department. But he doesn't know what he's doing. That's okay. We checked the box. And I love that Pete Hegseth, for once, is unapologetic. I don't care. I want people who can kill, and I want the ones who can kill the best.
Was fundamental to getting back to basics. And that's what when I get a chance to talk to commanders here, that's what I emphasize. We're getting back to basics. Standards at every level need to be adhered to, and that's at a baseline. And when you talk to soldiers, you talk to Marines, they get it. They get it. They've seen the standards slide under the previous administration. They watched, in many different ways how it eroded, or quotas were being met, or different aspects boxes had to be checked. Not anymore. The only box that gets checked in this Defense Department is lethality and your ability to do your job.
The only box that gets checked is, can you kill? Can you kill well? That's our job here. We kill. Nothing else. I'm going to train you, whichever department you're going to be in, whether you're flying an airplane or you're a Navy SEAL or you're a Marine or whatever. What I want is the best of killers. Is that offensive? Too flippin' bad. That's what we do here. We don't make necklaces. We don't make cookies. We kill. And if that offends you, you're applying for the wrong job. And I know there are so many Democrats out there who hate that he's using the word lethality. I don't need you for anything else. Yeah, I do need some cooks. And I do need some medics, and I do need some people in the laundry. Those are ancillary jobs. But for the most part, the people I want are people who are the most lethal. Does that bother you? Does it make your feet hurt? Does it hurt your nipples? Then don't join. I want that. I'm pretty sure when you go to sleep tonight, you're like, I hope there's somebody watching out. Yes, I want to know if something happens, these people, man or woman, I don't care. There's some women who are some lethal shots out there who take your eyes out without blinking. That's who I want on that wall. Like Jack Nicholson said, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. I eat breakfast 150 yards away from people wanting to kill me. That's who I want out there. Not some transformer. Unless that transformer happens to be one dead-eye shot, then I'm all in.
America has some guts to follow through with this. I mean, I hope Congress does. America does. Congress, we are elected about 3 votes. We're one flu season away from being out of the majority. But dadgum President Trump was elected overwhelmingly, and I think we need to remember that, and we need to honor the wishes of this country. I almost said this congregation, but this country. But the truth is that the DOGE stuff is written in pencil and it can be erased under the next president. And this is a perfect example. These people at NPR and PBS, they literally hate this country. They hate everything that it's about. They hate our patriotism. They hate our Lord. And they...
See, that's where I would draw a line right there. We can't fund you. Everything he just said, one by one, we got a problem with. You're not a patriot. You hate the country, what it stands for. You don't want to salute the flag. And you hate God. Those things right there, you should not be giving America's money to. And I know there's a lot of people out there, and we've all heard them, and they're lamenting, and the stuff that they say, and blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to hear it when you hear separation of state. You need to go look that up before you talk about it. This is a country and they count on your money every April 15th. In 2 weeks, you're going to have to do that dance. And there should be some conditions upon that. Number one, I don't want to give my money to people who don't believe in this country. If I'm giving you money and you're telling me you don't believe in the First, Second Amendment, you don't believe in those things, you shouldn't be getting our money. If you don't believe in that document that Trump has in his office, the Constitution, you shouldn't be getting our money. If you can't swear allegiance to the flag, you shouldn't be getting our money. It is that simple. And so unless these people can say with complete veracity, I salute the flag. I stand for this. I stand for America. Unless you can say that, you ain't getting a dime. I wish somebody would enforce that. And like what Tim Burchett was saying, unless they codify this and make it law, all this stuff that Trump is doing is going to get turned back. And then they're going to take more of your money. It's coming. It's coming. The Democrats are true lost losers. However, excuse me, my fear is they'll take the Supreme Court of Wisconsin and get the 2 new people they need to overthrow Trump. All right, let's address that real quick. As I was talking to Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen the other day, one of the things that the media is going to spin that they're going to take these 2 House seats and all of a sudden we're going to lose, but that doesn't take into account everything that we should be doing between now and 2026 to get more seats. To get more, again, like Mark said, there's a lot between now and those elections that if Trump is able to do and basically stop the nuts from gumming up the works here, people are going to have no choice. Right now, they can steal it. I don't know why Republicans aren't out voting. But when they see, as I've said, gas prices, grocery prices, no interest, better jobs, all housing market. How do you go backwards? If only 25% of people are the crazy blue hairs out there with the nose rings and don't know which sex they are, how do you go back if everybody else is being prosperous? So yeah, this judge may want to go ahead and flip those 2 seats and redistrict it accordingly, but the actual votes that happen in 2026, it's going to be very hard to convince people to move away from prosperity. Even if you hate Trump, how do you go? Because I would run. I'm not going to run. But all this stuff is here. You want to go back to where it was? We're going to talk about that in a second. So that's crazy. Excuse me. A friend told me they had to deprogram that when he left the Marines. I want to kill. I want to kill. The reason why Waltz did it was because he was getting free flights to China. Yeah, it's crazy. BMW is made in SC. Full disclosure, because I don't want anybody taking pictures of my cars in Google Earth or whatever. Yes, Robin and I both drive BMWs. This was before all this stuff. But BMWs, coming from Murrells Inlet in South Carolina, we knew what was going on with South Carolina. All right, let's continue.
Don't hide it.
Well, Bill Barr is one of the best lawyers I've ever known, and there are certainly strong arguments for the administration to make here. I think that we
at the lower court level, Biden 14, Obama 12, Bush 6, Trump administration 1.0, 64. I think we found another the other day in the 20th century. There was like a dozen, and now we're already at 15 in about 64 days. So you mentioned that about Barr a moment ago, about the good faith argument. Roll soundbite number 3 to continue this question here. Watch.
These district court judges are trying to usurp the responsibility of the president in the national security area. And what's happening here is they're trying to reduce all decisions to these trial-like hearings, which essentially gives the judge the power to overrule and second-guess the executive.
So the way we frame that question, where there's 650...
You see, there were certain things, as brilliant as our forefathers were, that they didn't anticipate. And what they didn't anticipate were the sheer evil, thievery, deceptive way that the Democrat Party and some Republicans have devolved into. You see, there was nothing in the Constitution. There was no way to undo some of the stuff that people have done, because they also studied it and went, we can get away with this because it doesn't say we can't do it. See, they thought when they wrote it, and go back and look at who these guys were, that people would be honest, upstanding, and righteous. They didn't think people would actually be that deviant as to work their way around loopholes in the Constitution just so you could destroy the Constitution. As brilliant as everything that they wrote was, they could not possibly imagine that people would steal an election. The most visceral, meaningful thing in American society is to have good elections, honest elections. And they completely bastardized it over a period of who knows how many years, to the point where they created a disease and they put in mailboxes and people stuffed mailboxes, and they did this and they did that, and they used different social security numbers, and they brought in newcomers, and there was no way for them to foresee that. There was no way for them to say, will people really go to that extent to steal an election? Yes. And so because they couldn't foresee that people would do this, there was no remedy for what they did. And those people knew it. Hey, we can do this, and there's no way they can undo it. That's why all those court cases, they didn't lose them. People kept saying there's no standing. There's no standing. There's no standing. Like, what would it take for you people to see what they're doing? See, I lost a lot of faith back then. They just let it happen. They let it happen. And now, they're trying their best to try to get back to that.
So I think there's merit to that. I think that the Trump administration is likely to win. I also think the Trump administration is likely to prevail in most of these cases. I think that federal judges have overextended themselves. I think they have intruded into areas of Article 2 or presidential authority.
Let me just ask you about the concept.
It's not even that to me. It's not even a matter of prevailing. Unless we, one, prevail, and number two, exercise these boils sitting on these courts. They're evil. They're scum. They're liars. They're not going to stop. Even if the Supreme Court says Trump can do this and Trump can do that, that doesn't address this problem. You got guys like Boasberger who are doing everything they can to subvert the will of the people. So thank you, Judge Roberts, and all you people who are like, hey, we need to fix this. I understand. But you still need to address this. And if the only thing we can do is impeach, and we now know that will never happen, there's no way you're going to have 60-something, people in the Senate agree to do it. Not going to happen. So the only way to do it is for Congress, which they're taking their sweet-ass time doing it, to just dissolve these courts. You don't need 60 votes. Then you have to ask yourself, what are they waiting for? Mike Johnson's the only person who can answer that question.
lawfare in general. Well, what do you think are the main pushbacks that we can be doing right now? Because it feels like people are waking up, which is step one, but then what are the moves we've got?
Yeah, so I'm as frustrated as most Americans, outside of being in this role before, from watching consistent congressional testimony or hearings and then not seeing anything happen. And that's where the enforcement offices need to step in and do their own investigations and then instruct the men in blue to arrest people. And I see all the tweets, all the frustration. Why aren't we arresting people? Why aren't we arresting people? We have to do that because we can't keep having investigations and no outcome of accountability.
Yeah, exactly. She gets it. I hate when I keep hearing these strongly worded letters or strongly worded tweets and we got to have a hearing. We're past that. We are absolutely past that. And until we get some people with some intestinal fortitude, we need 50 Alina Habbas around the country. Get in there, kicking some doors, put on some handcuffs, hire Tom Homan. Once you get the border fixed, put him on this stuff as well. Just start kicking in doors, put him in handcuffs, and let the trials commence. Do it. And I think there's a problem is because Congress is like, well, if we get too close, they're gonna get some of the people we like. Too bad. There was a guy who was a Republican. I don't even know which state he was, but he just got arrested for diddling kids. And I'm like, I don't care. Republican, Democrat, put him away. Hang them, do what you need to do. If you're caught diddling kids, you need to go away. I don't care what party. It's a nonpartisan issue. But they arrested him, and he's some nobody state representative someplace. Keep going. I don't even care the names. Just keep going. Take them all down.
One issue. The other issue we have, Alex, and you and I have spoken about this, is we got a real problem on the bench. For people to attack AGs or whomever, that's only half of it. Then you've got the people that are deciding what evidence goes in and out of court, what record you can and cannot make. As I know, it can completely ruin or destroy or change what the jury can see, what they can't see. Those decisions are so critical. So we shouldn't have judges that should recuse themselves, not recusing themselves. I think that's a broken system because the judges themselves decide if they're going to recuse. I don't understand that. I think that needs to be.
I don't think anybody understands that. The judge himself can or herself can determine whether or not they have a conflict of interest. Wait a second. Wait. So Judge Merchan with his daughter getting $90 million and Judge Bo Asperger and his family and his wife and all these other people getting money. He's the only person that can determine if he has a conflict of interest. He's the only person that can say, yeah, I'm all up in this stuff here, but I'm good. You tell me there's not a committee? There's not a committee someplace that says, you're out. It's the same person. That's where we are. Again, here's another rule that nobody ever expected it would get to this point. When you got judges declaring themselves whether they should or should not recuse.
Reformed. We have several things that I think are very troubling. You can't have political ties and be a judge deciding a case, and you cannot be actively having family members in that situation. That cannot happen. There are rules that should be, and people that need to be, I think, investigated in terms of judicial oversight committee and ethics.
See, what I'm thinking is if your child, spouse, brother, any of those connections are involved with anything that you may be adjudicating, it should be an automatic disqualification. Why are we leaving it up to the judge to go, nah, it's okay. My daughter took $90 million from the Democrats, but we're good. Should be automatic. Don't even have to think about it. The reason why they can't make it automatic because they're all dirty. Every single one of them, whether it's insider trading or taking a trip to some guy's island and playing around with little kids or stealing money from USAID, I don't know if we'd be left with a judiciary. Definitely wouldn't be left with a Congress. It's all just one big hornet's nest of incestuous BS. It has to be fixed.
And those people look at. You need to stop focusing on Trump's lawyers and start focusing on the enforcers of the law, the people that are truly the decision makers and that can really ruin somebody's life financially, putting them in jail, things like that. That you can't take that and mix politics into that.
Meantime, Maxine Waters, Monica.
All right, she's right. Now, I wanted to do this because she's so good to us. I want to feature. She told us the last time she was on that she'd be on Fox News again, and so this has really nothing to do with it. Well, it's kind of weird in terms of story, but I just wanted to promote Monica Page so you guys can tell her, hey, we saw you on Fox News.
As that Melania Trump might need to be deported. Watch.
If he wants to start looking so closely to find those who were born here and their parents were undocumented, maybe he ought to first look at Melania.
It's kind of a bad path we are on, Monica. What do you think?
Yeah, this is anti-legal immigration bigotry on full display here. Clearly, Maxine would rather deport a legal immigrant like Melania Trump than deport the, hundreds of Tren de Aragua designated terrorists that have come into this country. It's quite hilarious.
I love it that she's moving on up and she's a regular on one of the Fox News shows. Won't be too long till she's probably hosting something. Congratulations, Monica. If you see this or if people hit her up on Twitter, X, tell her you saw her segment on Fox News and that you love the fact that she's being featured on a major news program. Awesome. Very awesome. All right, Maxine Waters is an embarrassment. Oh, that's an understatement. That is definitely an understatement. Somebody goes, yes, I watched Monica live on Fox. Yep, it was very good. She makes me sick. Get a new wig, Maxine. Maybe she should deport that thing sitting on her head. Because obviously that ain't from around here. And it's definitely fake. So, it's crazy. Melania earned her citizenship. Yeah, I cannot believe you would go there. Even mention that. Florida voters, please get out there and vote. Yep, absolutely. Congratulations to Monica. All right, so let me continue here. This show turns out to be a little bit longer because President Trump spoke, so I got my work to do. So I just got a couple more segments here. I mentioned to you that the Democrats, actually, you'll see on the screen here, the Democrats are lost. They are lost losers. And I've got a number of clips here back to back to actually prove that point to you. If you weren't already sold on the fact that these people were gonzo, this little segment here you're going to see. This is the intro statement.
The Democratic Party has no identified leader. They have no vision. Their platform has been soundly rejected by the American people.
The American people sent a clear message in November. They want us to return to common sense, but it appears that some of our friends in the other party are ignoring that plea.
They have no idea what policies are attractive to the American people.
We can now report that the House of Representatives has officially passed that short-term bill to keep the government open for the next 6 months.
One Democrat voted with us to do the right thing, and that is to fund the government. They're doubling down, tripling down on their failed policies and their message.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, the Lake and Riley Act heads to the Senate for the second time after passing in the House, despite the fact that 159 Democrats still voted against it.
House Republicans, meantime, passed a bill Thursday that would deport illegal immigrants convicted of rape, sexual assault, or domestic violence. 145 House Democrats voted against the bill.
The House voted to uphold common sense again. We voted to require all schools receiving federal funds to uphold the original meaning of Title IX and keep biological men out of women's sports.
Trans girls are girls.
I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president.
All I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down.
That piece was put together by Mike Johnson, and I wanted to use it as the intro to show you these loser Democrats who really have no idea what they're going to do moving forward. They have nothing that most American people want. We heard last night from Mark Mitchell that there's so many people, 60, 70% of Americans are giving them the hand, showing them the hand at this point and going, this doesn't make any sense. You people are bat poop crazy. And the only way they're going to be able to win is to finagle, continue to cheat, and continue to lie because the contrast is too great. So without further ado, let's get into this. And where is it? Okay, here we go. You ain't gonna believe this. Ready?
Happening. The Trump cabinet is on track to be one of the whitest cabinets in modern history. And when the government is given unchecked authority, civil rights are often the first to be sacrificed. Without this amendment, nothing in this bill stops an administration from using its reorganization powers to weaken the enforcement of civil rights and anti-discrimination protections. So I don't know why anyone here would be either deafeningly quiet or be opposed to a guarantee that government cannot support segregation. This bill grants the president and executive departments new powers, and it is essential that we explicitly limit these powers from rolling back civil rights and supporting segregation.
I've said it many times. Without race, these people have nothing. Without poor people, these people have nothing. But what you're seeing is some mirroring as to what they would do if they were back in power. It would be completely the opposite. And they mean to do it. They've already told you they mean to do it. This administration is just way too white. It's the same thing as saying this country is too white. Make no bones about it. They do feel that this country is too white. The only way to fix it is to drive in and ship people in to shake up this snow cone called America and make it more of people who look like me, as they would say. Instead of understanding you live and are working in the best country in the world, and you're still, your focus is on tearing that down because you want more color or whatever in the mix instead of people just taking care of opportunity. And I don't know what she's talking about segregation, because every time I walk out in my driveway and I look down the street, they're all white. Oh, wait a minute, there's a black guy who lives down there. That's right, there's one black guy who used to play football for the Dolphins. He lives down there, yeah. Mm-hmm. Other than that, everybody out here is white. And most of them are Jewish. And the Shabbat is right over there. But somehow we all coexist and live in this neighborhood, and nobody looks and goes, we need to sprinkle in some more, I don't know, different kind of people up in here.
Now listen, I'm somebody who believes, in the power of data. So let me offer some data points here. The Department of Housing at HUD, Trump is firing HUD workers in my district, including those that oversee anti-discrimination work. If we do not pass this amendment, he could try to allow...
Miss Cuba, you just mentioned that it was HUD that you're worried about, and that Trump was firing people who look like you in your neighborhood. I don't know if anyone's told you, but the secretary of HUD is a black man who's firing these people. Just saying. I would have just said, can you shut up? Did you not know that Scott Turner is the secretary of HUD and he's the one who's cleaning house? It's funny how she omitted that. Oh, Trump's out here firing all kinds of people from HUD, even in my district. No. Somebody should interrupt her. I beg, point of order. Point of order. Scott Turner is the secretary of HUD. Scott Turner is firing these people. And the last time I checked, Scott Turner, he's black. Oh boy, I'm sorry, cue ball.
For segregated housing, like he did with his real estate properties in New York. Department of Labor. Trump has fired members of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Oops, gotta go after you then again, Secretary of Labor. I'm pretty sure she's a woman of color. I don't know if she did her homework here, but something ain't wrong, cue ball. You shine it, something. You're missing up.
Independent agency leading to power being concentrated in the Department of Labor. If we do not pass this amendment, we could see the erasure of all progress made for equal employment and equal pay, regardless of race. And finally, the Department of Veterans. The erasure of the contributions of black veterans is already happening under the Trump administration. Without this amendment, Trump would go further than websites. He will deny black people care at local VA hospitals throughout the country.
How do you quantify that? Trump is going to refuse black people care. The black people are not going to be able to get care, as far as I'm concerned, is what she's saying. How can you work in hypotheticals? Crazy.
So I don't understand why anyone would be opposed to what should be an easy amendment to support, unless you support the efforts of Donald Trump to resegregate this society.
And the funny thing is, we know she's full of it, but I just wanted to bring your attention to her Technicolor coat. It looks like something out of the Bible. What in the hell are you wearing? And you're talking about wanting to solidify color. Maybe you should have wore a black coat. You make no sense, none whatsoever. And you're asking people to vote on an amendment of complete conjecture. Trump's going to segregate us all. No, show me where it says that. Show me where it says black people are going to be here, white people are going to be here, Asians are going to be here. I don't think it says that anywhere. Nowhere. Democrats have lost it. There's nothing they have that the American people want.
Which he is clearly on track to do, having just dropped this policy prohibiting contractors from having segregated facilities. Why would such an action be taken if that is not the root and the motivation of his dangerous and draconian actions that seek to take us back?
You chose.
I don't know why these people are the way they are. They must have seen November 5th happen, and they must think that the American people just somehow just didn't understand everything they were saying. So what we need to do is amplify all the stuff that Americans hate to the point where they're going to change their mind. It's insane. Talk about insane.
Not to go through the proper protocol.
Yeah, right.
And everybody could have seen this.
Yeah.
This is not the App Store kind of stuff you want to be using.
They also have a tendency to blame the Biden administration. Yeah. It's like, move on, that ship has sailed. I never remember in my lifetime a sitting president trashing a previous president.
Meanwhile.
I never in my lifetime remember a president blaming a preceding president. Oh, really? Whew.
When the president was asked what he thought had happened, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides. My God." That's what he said.
Bizarre. It sounds like if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We got to lock him up.
That Trump, when in Europe, would not go to the grave sites in France. The brave service members who gave their lives to this country. He called them suckers and losers. Who in the hell does he think he is? Who does he think he is?
And the then president was asked, what do you think? He said, they're very fine people on both sides. Not fine people on both sides. No excuse, zero.
And I know Americans want a president, not a dictator. No self-respecting American president would ever be Putin's puppy like this guy is. That's what he is. Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. But I'm serious.
Whoopi actually said that. I mean, not Whoopi, Joy Behar said she's never seen a president trash another president. She wasn't looking at Hart, or again, just like with all these Democrats, it's the art of deception. Don't remember anything. Just don't look back. Your brain plays tricks on you. We'll tell you the truth. Remember Mika from Morning Joe said, we're here to tell you what you should think. She actually said that on air. That's what these people believe, that the people who follow them are so stupid that they have no ability to remember what just happened a couple months ago.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass. You like to smack in the ass.
I've never heard that before. You never heard, Ronald Reagan didn't do it. They're same
But it's
models.
the common enemy. It's what drives their base together is the other.
Yeah.
So they do that to create.
Yeah. And I got to say, stop treating your base like their dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it.
They know better.
We'll be right back.
Sure.
Donald Trump's election denialism reached new heights.
Now, before I get there, I am having to let you guys know that it appears out just crazy that the D.C. Court of Appeals has ruled in Trump's favor. This just came out. I'm looking at, about 5 minutes ago. This is Margot Cleveland. Margot Cleveland, who, in case you don't follow her, you should. She comes out with all the court's filings. Breaking Trump win in case involving his firing of executive officials. The lawyer version thread to be followed by the layman's thread. Okay, number 2. Opinion here. D.C. Court of Appeals decision in consolidated appeals of Harris and Wilcox. Trump fired Harris from Merit Protection Review Board and Wilcox from the NLRB, National Labor Relations Board. Whoa, I did not see this coming. Rather, I predicted the court would grant the stay because courts couldn't order reinstatement and punting issue of states limiting Trump's firing ability, but that might be Walker's only view. Still reading. So, as of right now, just 5 minutes ago, we have a ruling that is going to be in Trump's favor where he can indeed fire people. I'm waiting to see if Margot expounds further on this because she is one of the best ones in terms of breaking it down. Her and Julie Kelly both at the same time. Let me see if Julie Kelly has gotten anything further, but it appears at this point that President Trump did get a favorable ruling from the D.C. Court of Appeals, which is going to cause Democrat heads to explode big time. So it just happened 5-6 minutes ago. I will follow Margot to bring you more information as it comes up, because this is huge. This will cause the Democrats to absolutely lose it. So I'll keep monitoring it and seeing what else she says about it. But it appears at this point, initial review is that they said he can fire people, which is awesome. Let's continue.
Yesterday, when he signed a sweeping executive order aimed at overhauling American elections. The order targets many of Trump's grievances from the 2020 election, which he continues to falsely claim had widespread voter fraud, including requiring documentary proof of citizenship to register to vote and demanding that all ballots are received by Election Day. The order, which could disenfranchise millions of voters, claims the actions are designed to prevent non-citizens from voting. But as NBC News points out, quote, there is no evidence they do in significant numbers in the United States. Voting.
What do you mean significant numbers? Why can't it be nobody? See, the Democrats and MSNBC and these networks, it's not in significant numbers. Number one, you don't know because of mail-in voting. Number two, who cares? Stop it all. It's illegal. You can't do it. But now they're going to try and find whatever loophole they can possibly find.
As a non-citizen is a serious crime that creates a paper trail that must be routinely reviewed by election officials. Trump's actions are sure to face swift legal challenges, given that the Constitution gives states the authority over elections. And the backlash from state election officials, it was immediate, with Arizona's Secretary of State, Adrian Fuentes, telling Democracy Docket, quote, "I genuinely believe that the Trump administration wants to cancel the 2026 elections so that he and his party can stay in power, and we have to fight like hell against that by every means available." Joining our conversation, voting rights.
Okay, so everything that they talk about is this is what's going to happen. He wants to now we're into the fantasy world of they want to cancel the 2026 elections. You got to be a special kind of stupid to buy into this stuff. I mean, a real special kind of stupid. But you get guys like Mark Elias who get paid millions to spew this stuff. That's why the people on the left are so screwed up.
Attorney and founder of the site Democracy Docket, Mark Elias. Mark Elias, do you agree with Adrian Fuentes that 2026 is under attack?
Oh, I think there's no question that 2026 is under attack. I don't think Donald Trump's going to be able to cancel the elections, but I do think he wants to attack free and fair elections in every way he can. And I think it's going to be quite alarming and quite surprising to many people to see how far he's willing to go.
Everybody knows that the...
Okay, so by now you're like, Barry, please, no more. I only got a couple more clips for you, just a couple more clips. But the thing is, they're becoming more outrageous by the day, which means they're becoming more dangerous by the day. That's something you have to realize. They are so unhinged. They have nothing of substance. It's all hyperbole. It's all hypothesis. It's all BS. And that's all they have in Fantasyland. Speaking of Fantasyland,
current healthcare system is broken, is dysfunctional. Everybody knows that the function of the system today is to make huge profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies. And everybody knows there is something wrong when we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people.
Is there something wrong because we're like the only major country that doesn't check IDs for votes? Since you went down that road. But in any event, they still want a communistic single-payer health care. It's ridiculous. I mean, even Robin and I were like, hey, we need to change our health care. We want to add something else. We want to do this. Why is it that freedom of choice is such a bad thing for the Democrats? If you're on Medicaid or Medicare, then fine. That's what you're on. But why should I have to reduce my coverage? Why should you have to reduce your coverage because of that? If you can afford a better coverage, why can't you buy it? Why do they want to put everybody into the same boat and say, nope, you can't have a premium silver policy. You can't have a platinum policy. You can't have that if Sheila can't afford it. Well, Sheila's got Medicaid and Medicare. Why are they so insistent about saying that everybody should be the same? The entirety of the collective. That's communism. That is absolute communism. They won't stop there. Hey, you shouldn't be driving a Mercedes. Nope, you shouldn't be spending your money on that. We think you'd be okay with a Hugo. Matter of fact, you shouldn't even have a car. We're going to have a 15-minute city, and you need to walk around and grab a bike. You know what? Even further than that, you will own nothing and be happy. It's all the same ilk. Everything that they're doing is trying to push this country and its people into accepting communism.
So Alexandria and I and others are going to work with you to finally do what should have been done decades ago, pass a Medicare for all single-payer program.
And let's talk about...
All right, so you just got beat in a major election. Beat badly. And this is what you want to move forward to in 2026. You want to keep moving with this Marxist communist BS. Good luck with that, Bernie. Good luck with that. You are not going to see your numbers move at all. You know why also? A lot of the people, as much as they try to say that Trump people are having second thoughts, a lot of the Democrats are now having second thoughts. They're having second thoughts because they're older. You know, the people you convinced that this communist stuff was for them, the ones who aren't completely screwed in the head, who are going to be 2, 3, and 4 years older from now, and they still can't be living in mommy's basement if they want to have any kind of a life. And so they're going to realize that your policies are even worse than they thought when they were in college.
Students specifically for a minute, because it's a $43 billion business for the United States for these students to come here and pay full freight to go to our schools and university.
Say that again.
It's $43 billion that foreign students bring to our country, to universities. And that's over 370,000 jobs in this country that are supported by foreign nationals getting an education in our country. That's a little bit over 1 million students. This is turning them away from our market, which is not a good sense. But in a larger case, it's just causing fear and panic among the immigrant community. So those bad.
So this guy's trying to make the case on MSNBC that the immigrant community is becoming fearful, and they're going to take their dollars and go someplace else because of the climate here in America. Because they're spending all this money at the colleges and the universities, and 370,000 jobs that he pulled out of his butt, and they're angry because Trump is doing this and that. If that's an argument you're trying to make to Americans, that we shouldn't be basically supporting Trump because some people are going to be pissed off, you don't realize that's exactly what we voted for. You're going to have a very hard time climbing that hill trying to find people, Americans, who are upset because people from other countries are upset. You're not going to sell that. You're not going to sell that argument when there's veterans on the street, when there are homeless Americans, and you're saying we should be worried about people over there being upset? Good luck with that.
Actors that are out there are sort of getting your game plan when you're sort of getting low-level fruit, or people who aren't even involved in these activities that you say they aren't major threats, and it's costing the American people millions and millions of dollars. Once the numbers come out on these immigration enforcement actions using the military at the border, which isn't sustainable, having 6 people arrest a student who probably could have turned themselves in, had a clear adjudication, moving people across the country and keeping them in.
You see, they're trying to sell it to you that using the military and arresting these kids and using 5 officers to come in and if you're spending so much money, it'd be better if you just left them in. And that's the whole thing. When you're sick, you don't ask the doctor, how much is it going to cost to remove this bump? It's causing me problems. Doc, I need this removed. These people don't understand. It's not costing us. We want them gone. I don't understand why that's so hard to understand. We're not trying to appease them. We're not trying to placate them. We want them gone. They are boils on the ass of America. When you look at this picture, I hope I can save it real quick.
Detention.
Okay, when you look at this picture, and they're all wearing a Hamas, scarves, those aren't people we want here. And I don't mean that from a racial perspective or looking down my nose at somebody. I'm looking at this and saying, these people are not pledging allegiance to the flag. These people are not saying America is great and we're so thankful to be here. They're not adding enough value to America, even if they take their tuition dollars elsewhere. Bye. You know why? Because there will be Americans who will go to these schools. And you don't have to worry about it. I don't want, and I'm pretty sure you don't want, people who... Why would you come here? If America sucks so bad, why are you coming here to go to school here? See, that's another thing these people don't understand. Many of us on the outside are looking at this and going, America sucks. America's a terrible country. Then why the F are you here? Why do you want to be educated in our schools, pay money into this system, if you hate the system? Nobody wants to answer that question. How about that, Mr. MSNBC? I say take your dollars, kiss off, and go back to wherever you came from. If you're not for this country, I don't want your money. I don't need your money. That's what they don't understand.
Facilities and paying for the overnight freight when they could be at home. All those things are a toll in expense and cost. But on the humanity of the United States, removing people from their families, the disruption of feeling safe in this country, and the downturn of foreign students coming to this will be an impact that will last us for years.
So, maybe some of these universities, instead of being bastions of protest, can actually teach kids how to prosper. Instead of all of the Ivy League, which used to be a big, huge spot for everyone to attain. We want to go to Harvard and Yale and Princeton, and now they're just basically farm grounds for idiots. What percent, and I understand probably the percentage of kids that are the idiots, because I've been watching March Madness, and I see these kids at school, and they're playing basketball, and cheerleaders and fans, and I realize it's a small percentage. Bye. Be gone. Don't care. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And take this lady with you.
Instead, to say no, that is not the America we know. The America that we know as a muscle that believes in knowledge, that believes in freedom. That's the America.
Noam is being criticized.
That was Randy Weingarten, who teaches your kids, who's responsible for teaching your kids. I love it when I see her out there screaming, because I realized at that point, when you see her screaming and the other black lady that was screaming with her, when you see them screaming, you know you've shaken the tree. You know they're freaking out. They're freaking out big time. They don't want us having kids homeschooled or school choice. Imagine how nice it must be to eliminate your competition. By saying you have to go to this school and that you can't use school choice or a voucher here or there, they're basically saying we don't want you to have any competition with our teachers. In fact, I would want that competition. I would want to know that my kids can go to the best school possible. But you're going to love this one.
Today for posing in front of prison cells full of tattooed, partially clothed detainees in what some suggest was a grotesque bit of political propaganda. During our conversation, Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia of California, David Jolly, is back with us. Do you see those images, Congressman? Or any of the videos that the administration put out? Because to me, they read as propaganda, an effort.
So we saw Kristi Noem go into that prison with MS-13 and other gangs behind her, and again had nipple soreness and fifi pain because, oh my God, oh, it's propaganda. No, that's a message. That's a commercial. Hey, look, you see behind me? See these dudes? Yeah, we're going to put you in cells with them. You get caught here, this is what we're going to do. What's wrong with that message? Why are we not showing strength? Why do you guys all want to be coddled by MS-13 and Tren de Agua Leches, whatever they're called? Why can't we not show them? This is what we're going to do to you. Get caught, you might end up in here.
To correlate immigrants with criminality. Nothing said about the lack of due process that we are seeing for these people. Congressman, what do you see?
You notice that's one of the favorite traits of these people is to conflate immigration and illegal immigration. There's no discernment to them. You know, it's all the same. Don't you understand that this group here is not supposed to be here? This group here is supposed to be here. These two things are quite different. But to them, it's all the same. And that's what they're trying to do. That's where the propaganda is. They're trying their best to make you think that the illegal and the legal are just the same people, just immigrants. They always forget that one word.
As the role of Congress in all of this?
First, just completely disgusting. I think that it's shameful. Those images were unbecoming of the United States. Certainly someone that runs our Department of Homeland Security. I sit on the Homeland Security Committee. I can tell.
The words Homeland Security, those words mean protect America. How is that unbecoming of someone who is taking protecting America seriously. I want to know that someone is so enthused about keeping America safe that they're willing to go down and take a picture in front of all these bad guys and say, you're next. But this guy's Fifi hurts. I'm done with these sweetie guys.
That those of us on the committee have been just floored that she would do that kind of prompt and stunt.
The officers on the scene were verbally.
Stunt. It's a stunt as far as he's concerned. What would you rather do? Use a stern worded text or tweet or something? You think the people who are taking over apartment buildings, you think those people are going to listen to you whine on MSNBC? No. But it gets worse. This is a chief of police in an American city who's chastising his officers because they're working with and coordinating with ICE.
Directed the occupants to get out of the vehicle. And this is against our policy.
Rochester's Sanctuary City Resolution was passed in 1986 and was later reaffirmed in 2017. That and RPD's General Order 502 prohibits RPD from enforcing federal immigration law, but allows...
It prohibits the police from being police. You are not allowed to participate in Rochester, which I hope everybody in Rochester, if you're stuck there, fine. But if you can, get the hell out, because your police are prohibited from working with ICE. Your main job is keeping America safe, keeping your residents safe, and your people, your chief of police, has said, do not cooperate with ICE.
For certain levels of assistance, only to ensure the safety of those involved.
We are not to be handcuffing subjects. We are not to be doing pat frisks on subjects. And we are absolutely not going to be detaining them or putting them into our car.
Anything from Capitol.
Would you live there? I'm just saying. You just heard him say, we're not going to handcuff him. We're not going to pat him down. We're not doing anything. Why the hell would I live here? If you're in Rochester right now, maybe, some people just can't pick up and leave. They got kids, they have a business, they work, they just can't leave. But there got to be a whole bunch of people in Rochester who are saying, why the hell am I living here? Why am I paying taxes? This is insane. What do you mean? If you can see that this dude and that dude are criminals and are not supposed to be here, and your own mayor and police department are saying, sorry, that's it. We just love the newcomers. But what about me? Oh, I'm sorry, this is more important. We're not going to even handcuff them. They don't deserve to be handcuffed or put in a police car. Oh no, we're not going to do that. So if I take a brick and I run over here and throw it through the front door of the grocery store, that's okay. You're not going to put me in handcuffs or give me a ride to the station. Oh, no, we're going to arrest you. That make any sense to you as an American? How they're not even willing to arrest these people. Move. If you can, move.
Democrats in particular about what these cuts may mean?
We're hearing particularly from Democrats in the Senate Health Committee. Edward Markey putting out a statement today saying, quote, this evisceration of workers isn't just a restructuring. He says it's a catastrophe in the making that'll disrupt services, violate federal law, and deny the livelihoods of workers who dedicate themselves every day to protecting public health, all to pay to take breaks for billionaires while American families pay the price of illness and death. He says we will not let this stand. And Phil, we heard a similar message from Bernie Sanders, also on the Health Committee, who pledged to fight these cuts. So we'll have to see what Democrats in Congress can really do about this.
I would love, when they say these so-called mantras of it's for millionaires. Well, they don't say millionaires anymore because they're all millionaires. So just for billionaires, tax cuts. No, it's for you. It's for me. It's for people like us. So they're not taking more of our tax dollars. They don't want people to know that if he cuts 20,000 jobs from HHS, that it's less money of your taxes. They only think billionaires are the ones who, would profit off of a tax cut. RFK Jr. didn't mention anything about a tax cut. He talked about a cut of expense from an agency that you fund. So if you don't have to spend as much, it's coming directly out of your pocket, so it should go back to your pocket. But they don't want people to understand that. They want people to think that this is bad for us. Speaking of which, this is a huge victory for Trump. I'm seeing more and more of it now in terms of the case being thrown out of the appellate court. Let me go to that here. For those asking for less lawyer talk and more law-splaining, Trump won a huge victory today when the appellate court held he can fire members of the National Labor Relations Board considering union issues and merit systems to protection board, blah, 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 blah. So as of right now, they will try and sue again. They will probably appeal as well. Decision rests on Article 2 authority. We knew it. We've been saying it. As soon as it got to a place where people would, recognize the Constitution, none of this stuff was going to stand. The decision rests on Article 2 authority of the executive and half dozen Supreme Court cases discussing when president can fire officials like board members versus when Congress can limit that authority. The opinion contains tedious legal analysis of president, but Trump wins. This is only temporary because it's official a stay of the lower court opinion, meaning the case is still pending. But more complete victory will be soon because appellate court is expediting and speeding up the process. Briefing and argument, and Judge Walker, blah, 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 will seek review from SCOTUS, which will likely take the case. And SCOTUS is likely to affirm, meaning Trump wins, either based on Judge Walker's analysis or overruling an old case called Humphrey's Executor. Here's more background. Bottom line, in case you're wondering, this is what it means.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
These judges had nothing to stand on. They were just making theater, making it up as they went along. And one by one, they are going to fall by the wayside, which is going to make these people scream bloody murder. This is on a Friday, so this should be the news for the entirety of the weekend. But watch, tomorrow something's going to happen. I'm telling you, they're going to have to get this off the front page as soon as possible. You cannot let Trump have a win for the entire weekend. So watch yourself this weekend, because something crazy is going to happen, no doubt. So back to the show here. Seeing twig and berries, I don't want her being forced to look at somebody else's twig and berries. And I think you ladies know exactly what I'm talking about. Just because you've seen it doesn't mean you should be forced to see it on somebody else, especially somebody, never mind. But you know what I'm saying. That was sick. That was absolutely sick.
Did you call for Lloyd Austin's resignation? Not only did we lose 13 service members, we left $70 billion worth of equipment that fell into the hands of the Taliban. A couple of years later, he was out of pocket for 2 weeks and didn't tell the White House. Did you ask for him to resign at this point? Are you actually asking for Hegseth and Waltz to resign when you didn't ask for Lloyd Austin?
There is nothing that Lloyd Austin did by getting health care treatment.
Okay, what about Afghanistan? What about it?
Those of you in the military, can you just walk away from your post and go, hey man, I ain't feeling well. I'm going to check out for a week or two. I ain't going to tell anybody. What do you mean there's nothing he did wrong? What do you mean that the Secretary of Defense can check out and go to the doctor for whatever reason? Yes, he's entitled to his health care. But it's okay not to tell anybody? To just go completely... I don't know if we should call it AWOL at his position, but you're telling me, Senator Coons, as a senator in the United States, you are saying that the Secretary of Defense can take some time off and not tell anybody. That's okay with you. He got caught. That's the only way you can explain it. He got caught. He wasn't expecting this on CNBC.
Did you guys forget that? The statute of limitations is over for 4 years? That's what
the fact that the Secretary of Defense was getting health care is fundamentally different from the Secretary of Defense sharing on an unsecure platform.
It was. You just said it was a success. Afghanistan was not a success.
I am not saying that the attack on the Houthis was not a success. I am saying that he demonstrably violated a directive that was just shared in the Pentagon about don't use.
So Lloyd Austin walking away and going into a hospital without telling anybody is demonstrably different? You mean the guy went under anesthesia? Let me understand what you're saying, Chris. The Secretary of Defense didn't tell anybody where he was going, has all kinds of codes and information, and went under anesthesia, could have passed out and could have passed away. And it's different? You don't think that maybe if people knew he was in the hospital, that they knew that there was some vulnerabilities, that they could have slipped him something? Are you that obtuse, or are you just a damn Democrat liar? I'm going to call it the latter.
For classified information, it is not reliably secure. And one of the folks on that group chat was in Russia at the time that information was being
secure line.
Look, all of us use apps like WhatsApp.
You're running out the clock on Afghanistan.
You're running
out the clock on.
It was a mistake for Donald Trump to negotiate with the Taliban an agreement for winding down the Afghanistan war.
Afghanistan was Donald Trump's fault?
If you'd let me finish my sentence, I will.
No, that's what you did say that. You did say that.
It was a mistake to negotiate an end to that war that put Biden in a box.
These networks have got to have ready the Southwest airline commercial, because every time you see these people get backed into a corner, that should be, oh, here's a word from our sponsor, want to get away? Because right now, he wants to get away. He can't even come up with the thoughts cohesive enough to determine what he's been saying. It's like, I don't even know anymore.
The execution of the withdrawal from Afghanistan was badly handled, and the loss of those 13 Marines was a tragedy.
Should you have asked for Lloyd Austin's resignation from that?
I don't know whether Lloyd Austin's the person who should have been held accountable for it, but there should have been accountability.
So you're going to see warfare. You're going to see all these guys cooed, doged, primaried, and they're going to fight back, though. They're not just going to take this lightly.
We're going to see. I mean, I think you got, Jan Schakowsky, who's 80 years old. She's been in Congress for 26 years. She's facing a 26-year-old. Right, who's already got 5 million views in her kickoff video, and Schakowsky keeps saying, I don't know if I want to run, right? Chuck Schumer, you're right. It's always not a question of like who's there, but who the alternative is. I think you'll see people that will challenge him. And next time he may only get, 5 people against him, then it'll be 10. Same thing that happened to Mitch McConnell.
So can the Democrat establishment fight a rear guard action against their base and take on Donald Trump at the same time?
No, but
without a media that usually carries their water?
No, I mean, and I think this is the thing. Our establishment has no power, and it's becoming clearer and clearer.
This guy's a Democrat strategist, big money guy, and he's admitting it on Fox News, on Jesse Waters' show, that they have nothing. It's to the point now where honest Democrats are looking at the landscape and just going, we got nothing. There's nothing we can do to combat this. That's what we're looking for. Those are the people that we can pull over. Those are the people that we should be contacting and interacting with on Facebook and on X and everything else, because those are the people who can be reached. They're reasonable. They're Democrats, but they're reasonable. And like, hey, man, this is nothing. We got nothing. You have no chance of winning. None. Except for stealing or cheating.
These days. And so I think you will see the change come from the bottom up. I think you will see people defeated. And look, right now we have no agenda, but I think you will get new energy, new candidates, and then we will get an agenda.
And if you guys, okay, don't rush the agenda.
Yes.
You'll get there, Dan. All right.
Somebody's going to show up. We'll find somebody. I don't know who. That's their hope at this point. Somebody. Well, I'm looking at your base. I'm looking at who the younger people are in your party. Who? Who? Dean Phillips? That's about it. Everybody else is whack job crazy. And so you got people with money who are in the Democrat Party are like, hey man, somebody run please. It ain't going to be Gavin Newsom. Forget about it. Somebody Maybe it is Stephen A. Smith. I don't know. But they got nobody. They're running. I mean, basically the Republicans are running unopposed right now, and they're still screwing it up. Not enough of them are getting behind Trump. Not enough of them are coming out and ripping open the shirt and saying, we are MAGA. Hear us roar. We are. No, they're still trying to be rhinos. They're trying to be stupid. They don't know how to win. That's what I've been saying. These people have not been taught how to win. You have this party by the throat. You can extinguish the Democrats for quite some time, and you're effing around. You're effing around fighting within your own party because you don't know how to win. You don't know how. You understand it's 4th and 1, and you can just take this team out. You can score another touchdown, and it's over. 2026 should be a romp. Right now, people should be in the gym, pumping, getting ready for 2026, and then get ready to pound these people into complete oblivion. And we got rhinos out there still trying to raise money for, people who aren't MAGA. I almost feel at this point Donald Trump's going to just have to go third party and just call it a MAGA, the MAGA party. If you want to do something in 2028, no Steve Bannon saying you need to run again. I'm not even saying run again, but maybe now with all the political capital that he has, just go ahead and start the MAGA party. Screw those people over there who think they're, so pompous. The elite rhinos. Screw them. You got 80 million people who are behind you. They don't care about these people, the Mitch McConnells of the world. Forget them. F them.
Problem the Democrats have with the press. They expect the press to work for them. They know that the press is ideologically aligned with them. They know that the press doesn't like Donald Trump. And so they expect the press to fall in line. And now, therefore, if there ever is an aberration to that pattern, they berate the press in a way like Republicans do not do. Republicans understand we're going to get a hard time from the press no matter what. That bar is low. If we ever have a good day in the press, it's because there was a low bar and we jumped over.
So, Ari, I have a question. And I've had this question for probably 2 or 3 years. If you know this, I know this, everybody in this watching this video, if we all know this, why the hell do Republicans still go on CNN and MSNBC? If you know they are basically Democrat operatives that are going to try and twist you and catch you and show you in the most negative of lights, why are you still going on those networks? You don't need them. The other day when, Secretary Collins beat up on Caitlin Collins, well, they're both the same name, when they were on there and he was smacking her around, although it worked, why bother? When Tim Burchett goes on these shows, yeah, you're able to beat up on these people, but it does nothing. It doesn't move the needle for you. Stop going on them. Give them no air. Again, teaching people how to win. You got your opponent on the ropes. Knock them the F out. Go on podcasts with Tim Post and Steve Crowder and whoever, Vince guy who took Bongino's, my show. Forget them. Talk to people who you need to talk to. There's nobody there. You're not gaining anything by going on there. And like Ari says, they hate you.
And so we don't have to worry about the press betraying us. The Democrats do. And on those rare occasions when the press actually holds them to account, they can't stand it because they think the press is their employee.
Now,
they think the press is their employee. Yeah, they do. Because they got people like this nut job here who is out there saying the same thing over and over and over again. So let's finish this off and have a good weekend. Let's listen to this.
this idea that if we just work hard, we too can have nation-state level money. Except these kinds of spoils aren't earned, really. They aren't working for these billions. They're stealing them.
So she's got a crowd sitting there. She's telling people who have money, or she's telling these people about people who have money that they stole it. They didn't work for it. They didn't earn it. I wonder if she realizes how many Democrat billionaires there are. I wonder if she tells her audience that, Alex Soros didn't work for it. He stole it. I wonder if she talks about Zuckerberg and says, no, he didn't work for it. He stole it. These people are too stupid to realize what she's even saying, because they could question this and go, huh? But what about the Democrat billionaires? What about them? That's how you know you're in a cult, when you can't look away, when you can superlatively use whatever words you can to describe everybody who's in a specific class. All billionaires are thieves. That's what she just said.
That our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to...
Please, by all means, continue with this. Please, for the next 2 years, go around to these meetings with these nuts in the audience and tell everybody we didn't lose because nobody wants what we're selling. We lost because we weren't effectively communicating that we want more DEI, that we want more transformers, that we want more taxes. That's why we didn't communicate it good enough. So you got 2 years. Please, by all means, get out there on the road and communicate that to as many people as you possibly can. I beg of you to do that.
Put them in, and we're going to execute them. And so we see one of the first things they do is try and restrict the vote. This is one of the things, though, that this is going to take power to the streets. I don't know what the answer is on this, but I've been saying this. I think we need a shadow government, so when all these things come up every single day, we've got an alternate press conference telling the truth about what things are happening, telling what's going out.
He wants a shadow government. Okay. Good luck with that. Good luck with that treasonous stuff that you want. Because we know what your response is. Your response is to lie. And you just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Have another horse milkshake. Whatever you need to do. You're beyond help at this point. But by all means, and you guys as well, should be encouraging it for these people to do as much of this as humanly possible. Let them just go out and vomit all over the people in the audience and let them keep up and think that this is going to win. We got a winning message right now. I just feel it. I just feel it. We just didn't tell everybody how good DEI is. We didn't tell people how good it was that boys would be playing women's sports. We didn't tell them how well and how good it is for society for transformers and drag queens to be in kids' school. Please continue that message. See, as we're breaking for the weekend, I hope you guys understand this is a party in complete disarray. We just saw them get beat in a major decision as we were doing this show, and while you guys were watching, we just saw them, get destroyed in court. It's only going to get worse. Be happy, but make sure you talk to each other about it, because it's only going to get worse for them. Somebody actually, somebody asked earlier, what's a twig and berries? Well, it was a euphemism for the junk that guys have, the twig and the berries. So, and what this gentleman Randy just said is they got no berries. They might have a twiggy, but they don't got no berries. Yeah, they make me sick. Yeah. Thanks for sitting through it. My thing for this weekend is I wanted to let you see how bad it really is for them. And for you to take away today, because I'm only going to be doing one show for today, tomorrow, and Sunday. But just understand that's why this one ran a little bit long. Well, and sometimes we go 3 hours, but I covered everything. It's 5 o'clock. Robin and I are going to a movie. Oh, by the way, the movie we're going to see tonight is supposedly about a guy I don't know if he used to be CIA or Secret Service, whatever, but he finds out about some human trafficking, and he goes typical Rambo style. It's a movie produced, I believe, by Sylvester Stallone. It features the guy who was in The Beekeeper, and he goes ballistic on people who were involved in human trafficking. So we're going to go see that tonight. I'll talk to you about it tomorrow, and I'm going to see if somehow Ashley can get him on for an interview, because I think that would be fantastic to start interviewing people who are out there in the culture as well. And Sylvester Stallone, he's here. He's actually here in South Florida. So if I could somehow find a way for Ashley to get a hold of him, I'd love to talk. You hear me, Sylvester? Yeah, okay. So anyway, that's where we are. Dems got twigs, but not many berries. Nope, not many berries there. Gosh. Oh, was it Mel Gibson movie? Yes, that's his name, Jason Statham. Was it Mel Gibson? I thought it was Sly. Mel Gibson, the OG Mad Max Governor of California. I thought it was. It's called Working Man. Working Man is the name of the movie. I'm gonna watch this on replay. And also, I'm gonna be starting cutting up a lot more as well, so that you guys can have little bite-sized things you can see because these shows go for 3.5 hours. And sometimes they can get long. I understand that they can get long. And just to let you know, when I talked earlier about doing some things with Rumble, what Rumble wants me to do, I'm not abandoning YouTube. They're going to say, hey, listen, can you do this? And then, like, at the end, do your after party. Can you move people to Rumble? I'm like, well, we'll see how I can figure out how to make that work. Jason Statham is awesome. I agree. So I'm gonna, if you guys have seen it, you guys know exactly which movie it is. It's called. Yep, this is what it's called. It's called The Working Man. So we're gonna go see that tonight, and I'll tell you all about it tomorrow if you guys have seen it. Let me just check Margot and see if she's posted anything else about this lawsuit and how Trump just kicked some Democrat hiney. Was it? Is this another one? Hold on. Okay, what did she post here? She just posted, oh my gosh, this minute order illustrates precisely how nutso these suits against Trump are. The judge literally orders the executive branch of government to inform the judicial branch on the status of the headquarters building lease. Oh my God! So we got a win, and then there's another. Oh, it's too big. Then we get another one where he's trying to. This is why he gets thrown out. These people are nuts. These people are absolutely nuts. All right, so let me do super chats if there are any, and talk to you guys. And what I'll do is tomorrow we'll give away some more hoodies. Make sure this is correct. And pull up the right window so I can acknowledge this. Here we go. And there we go. There we go. Alrighty. Thank you. All right. Tacey Lee, need to destroy all the tunnels along the southern border so the thugs can't come back. Yep, I bet you they're doing that right now. The UK king celebrated Islam, not the Church of England. He's talking about King Charles. Knitting Turnpike. Thank you for all you do. You always deliver the news before the main channels, and I love being so tuned in. Thank you for tuning in. And I know this shows go very long, much longer than most podcasts. But again, I've been modeling myself after the great one, the one and only great one. And some people can't sit, so that's why I got to do some excerpts. CJ Bros, I love that rock intro. I get rotating it up, but please don't abandon it altogether. I'm going to do some more rock intros, but the rock intros were going to be music from people that you know here in the chat. Buster, Dan Bongino gave Cash and Pam kick up the butt because they were too quiet. Yeah, exactly. Mr. Anderson, Bolivian Peaberry, 1775, my favorite. Wow, very nice. Bill S. When the Democrats make a clear violation of the laws or violate the Constitution, they're never held accountable. I believe that's why they do what they do. Mm-hmm. They know ahead of time. Melinda Frizzell, thank you. KRO, please put this towards Bibles. That's the reason why I'm not doing 2 shows tomorrow, today, and Sunday, is because I got to get the system. We got I think it's like close to 100 Bibles that I got to get out by Monday. Bear, I used QR code on the 3rd of March, still didn't get the mystery box. Go ahead and email me so I can get that over to them. Most people get their stuff pretty quickly, so I will follow up with Patriot Addict on that. Mr. Anderson, Pete needs Gunny Sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. Yes. Darren Engel. Excuse me. Bring the rock intro back. There was no vote, just like Kamala. I just changed things in and out just to see. Q-Ball needs to shut up about vets. We don't want her support. Tacey Lee, how can you not love winning? Exactly. Let me scroll this down. Joy Kirkland, just once I'd love to see someone when they're talking about Austin, when they say it's different and say it's different, you stupid. Austin was way worse. That would cause shock at all. Way worse. Just went away. Those of you who don't know, he got sick and just went into the hospital and didn't tell anybody. Hey, Tommy. Important show. I think martial law is the only way a total reset of America. Half of Congress is corrupt and the courts are worse. Keep it up. Thank you, Tommy. Hope you're feeling better. And Yvonne Berger, King Charles made the Church of England illegal. Oh my God, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. Wow. All right, so tomorrow I'm going to be talking about Canada and England as well, so I can show you guys some things. But have a good Friday evening. Relax. President Trump is going to be down here in Mar-a-Lago. He's going to be kicking it, taking it easy, probably golfing. I'll see if I can get some clips of him down there. I was thought about driving over there, but I'm wondering, I probably can't get too close anymore. You used to be able to drive right by Mar-a-Lago. I mean, it would be like right there. You can, oh, that's Mar-a-Lago. You probably can't get anywhere near it right now. So, and I don't want to go to jail. So I'll drive by and see how close I can get. But if I can't get too close, then I'm not going to go. Okay, hold on. Somebody, wait a minute. I want to cue this. Saw it yesterday. Sylvester Stallone is the one with this movie, not Mel. Definitely whoop fast, staff him as military in it. All right, that tells me I need to be seeing this movie, and I shall go. All right, everybody, I want you guys to have a great Friday evening. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
you.